This time they are away, and Peacock goes away strongly.
She wants a man from London. She wants a fellow with felonies. That's not with my team. There's no I in it. I bring it on my team. Just when it's all my team. Moving the bounces, bounce when it's all my team. You do wanna never know. Don't be a sheep when you can be bold. Great, it's a good time and you never know. Don't show up to my show.
This is
Got no
absolutely marvelous.
Now, on Thursday, April 11, 2019, the final buried rapper entrepreneur Nipsey Hussle, and a very big wakekeeping they do for him for inside Staples Center for Los Angeles. Now, his family plus his friends and well-wishers gather for inside the place where they bury him. According by the program, when we say they give people, celeb them, when we say they perform, they plenty, and their name na Macha Ambrosius, Jenny Aiko, Stevie Wonder, and Anthony Hamilton. Karen Civil, now she read acknowledgement and resolution, while Snoop Dogg, LA radio personality Big Boy, and Nipsey girlfriend Lauren London, that they heard the family tribute. Karen Civil, now she read a personal letter for Barack Obama when we say give the friends and family of Nipsey Hussle. For the letter, he say, no be say I be meet Nipsey, but my PK, now she make me hear a song. After we be saying bye. I don't get chance to learn about all the better things when we say they do for a community before I buy. As it be say plenty people when we say they're born for the area and I only gang bullets and badness that no. Nipsey na him build hope he can use himself tell other people for area say their life feel better pass as a day. Anthony Hamilton can end up with in 2007 track Do You Feel Me? He also talks say we day here to celebrate the life of person when we say stand for love and unity. From today till forever, we go love again. All right, so they say Arsenal don't win Napoli 2-0 for inside the Europa League quarter-final tie to keep hope alive of winning the European silverware this season. But the coach of the side, Unai Emery, talks saying now still 50-50. Despite the first leg win for inside the Emirates Stadium in the Qatar. Now for first half, the goal they enter all thanks to Aaron Ramsey, correct goal, and another home goal by Kalidou Koulibaly when we say shooting ball passing goalkeeper Alex Miret. Napoli when we say they carry second for inside Serie A, go host the Gunners for the second leg next Thursday inside San Paulo Stadium. Napoli boss Carlo Ancelotti, he talks say get belief say they go progress go the last 4. That's now our news roundup of event for this hour. For more Tory updates, I beg follow us at Plus TV Africa for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And make sure subscribe to our YouTube page at Plus TV Africa. We'll show back later with more Tory them. All right, my name is Promise Nero, and I thank on one episode to listen to this story. Make sure get better day. On our way done.
You're watching Plus TV Africa, and this is Tea Time.
I loved the energy when I came in here. It was so positive. I was like, I can't live here.
My real names are Akbofiokubo, Akbolubomemere.
I think my father is a comedian because most times when he calls me, he's like, yo, make sure you use condom. You know, them girls out there.
So are you telling me I should have shot my shots?
Ife, you are my younger brother.
Age is nothing but a number. What? I'm a vampire.
I believe in equal rights for women, and I also believe that a man is the head of the house, so we need to draw our limits somewhere.
Feels so good. Now can I do my jam now?
Yeah, you can.
Thank you.
with the 200 metres, but we must stress, absolutely legal.
Sounds of the surf.
Yeah. Now that he's a hater, I don't want no bad energy. Man get views, but I rate off, you can't see my energy.
And this time they are away, and Peacock goes away strongly.
She wants a man from London, she wants a fellow with felonies. That's not with my team. There's no I in it, I bring it on my team. That's when it's all my team. Even the bouncers bounce when it's all my team. Who do you wanna never know? Don't be a sheep when you can be gold. Great, it's a good time and you never know. Don't show up to my show, you've got no energy.
Plus TV Africa is a project that came out of a dream, a vision that has lasted almost 18 to 20 years before it crystallized and became a TV station that we have today. For the last 18, 20 years, I've been thinking of a situation where we can have a group of young Africans come together, work together to tell the African story, or stories from an African perspective. So we decided that we wanted something that is wholesomely and robustly African in every way you could possibly think of. Hence the creation of what we call Plus TV Africa, to tell the African story from the African perspective, and it's being told by Africans.
Hey, what's up guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshuke.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Event is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. Right, no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV. Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, is a businessman, investor, and founder of Dangote Group. He was born in Kano, Nigeria in 1957. Dangote lost his father at a very young age, but this never deterred him from excelling. He recalls having a knack for business right from elementary school, where he sold cartons of sweet to make profit. He obtained his bachelor's degree in business studies and administration from Al-Azhar University in Cairo. Dangote Group, which he started as a small trading firm, kicked off in 1977 with a seed capital of $3,000, which he borrowed from his uncle at age 21. Dangote Group has over time evolved into becoming the largest industrial group in Nigeria, including Dangote Cement, Dangote Sugar Refinery, and Dangote Flour, and his most recent project, Dangote Oil Refinery. He expresses his patriotism to Nigeria and Africa, not only in words but charitable deeds. He donated 150 million naira to stop the spread of Ebola in 2014. In 2018, he built a 1.2 billion naira business school in Bayero University, Kano. He was conferred with Nigeria's second highest honor, Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, by the former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Forbes ranked him first place as the richest man in Africa. Dangote is married and has 3 children. And this is the Mogul in 90 seconds.
You're watching Africa on the Move in partnership with DW. I am Fumi Onwajefe. Today, we'll be focusing on activism across the continent. Not satisfied with certain issues and, of course, with ineffective leaders who aren't dealing with the crisis on the continent, a lot of people are coming together to find their own solutions and raise awareness. We start in Rwanda, where Freddie and Kayla have set up Media for the Deaf. Let's find out what that's about.
Freddie Rangira and Kalia Uwedegije have been campaigning for media inclusion of the deaf since 2014. According to the latest census, there are more than 30,000 people with hearing disorders in Rwanda. Yet few in the broader public are aware of the challenges that come with deafness.
The deaf community is among us the marginalized into even the disability movement. They are the one who are more marginalized than others.
The idea to launch Media for the Deaf came from a research project on how the media serves disabled people. The findings were alarming. With only one news program available in sign language, deaf people in Rwanda have extremely limited access to information.
After the recommendation I got, I said, what is my contribution or my solution to that problem that they are facing as someone who studied journalism and communication.
Today, the media team is preparing for the next video shoot for their #SignYourName campaign. Diane Gashumba, the Minister of Gender and Family Promotion, has agreed to participate. The two activists were inspired by the success of the recent Ice Bucket Challenge on social media.
I thought it would be easy, but it was difficult. But I was supported and it was good. It was a good experience.
The minister also promised further support for the team and their initiative down the track. 48 celebrities have already taken part, among them local artists, athletes and actors.
nshobora kuganira mu rurimi rw'amarenga. Ese kuki wowe utagerageza? Murakoze.
The group recently won a Young Rwandan Achievers Award for their efforts. Freddie is proud that all their work and commitment has been recognized.
And this is Keria in between receiving the award. On the left, it's the First Lady of Rwanda, Madame Jeannette Kagame, and Honorable Minister of Youth and ICT. This came at the right moment because it gave us the spirit of going on doing more of the advocacy work we are doing.
Media for the Deaf also plans to offer sign language workshops for journalists, as well as media training for deaf people. A difficult task because the young organisation is still struggling financially. So far, the 9 board members have had to pay all expenses out of their own pockets. But their success proves that good ideas don't need much to grow.
We challenge you.
Half of the African population lives in poverty. These people do not have access to basic human needs such as nutrition, clean water, shelter, and more. 47% of the African population is living on $1.90 or less, and 2 in 5 Africans are illiterate. Now let's bring that to perspective. In Kenya, poverty is the leading cause of teenage mothers, particularly from the ages of 14 to 16. Now, one young woman has started an interreligious school to encourage young girls who think that their education and in turn their lives are over because they became pregnant.
Every week, Mariam Masih visits this public school in Malindi. She doesn't want the school to be named. This is part of her program's strategy to protect the girls, Mariam says. The Kenyan Coast Interfaith Council of Clerics reintegrates teenage mothers into school. The teachers try to support these young girls aged between 14 and 16. They come from different religions, mainly Catholic and Muslim. This interreligious approach is of great importance to the different leaders in the Interfaith Council.
These interfaith clerics also, they have a common meeting where they all discuss, they sit down to discuss the issues of children, because when problems comes, they will not face a particular religion. They face each and every child from whichever religion that is.
Poverty is the main problem in this region. Young girls get lured by men offering to buy them simple items like sanitary towels. They get abused and become pregnant.
The parents would ask, if she goes back to school, who will take care of the children? And we were able to talk to these parents and show sense to them that these are still children and they need to be given an opportunity.
This argument finally convinced Pili Ramadhan to also let her daughter participate in the project. Her daughter is with the green scarf and didn't want to be filmed or named. We shall call her Shumi. Shumi is only 16, but already has a 1.5-year-old child. I was pregnant when I was still in school, and after I gave birth, I decided to go back to school and learn, because life will be difficult. For her mother, Pili Ramadhan, having another child to feed was a shock. She's unemployed and still doesn't know how to make ends meet. The 55-year-old widow also supports the 2 children of her son. When I learned about the pregnancy of my daughter, I was so sad and bitter that I was beating her all the time. My neighbors told me that beating is not the solution, and it's not the end of learning. Mariam Masih visits one of the girls who has landed on her feet despite her early pregnancy. Sylvia Jumwa has a small tailoring shop. Her first child died when she was 16. For Mariam, she's a great example for the other girls.
We are trying to build that social cohesion where people can coexist together peacefully, despite the fact that they come from different backgrounds, different ethnic groups and different religions.
Jumwa took up a microcredit, which she is now able to pay back. She even employs 2 young seamstresses. For Missy, teaching the young women to provide for themselves may be the answer to their problems, and they no longer have to accept the dubious offers of the men.
From pregnant school children to street children, Isaac Peter is trying in his own little way to take children off the streets.
Victor Brown's stage name is T1. He's a breakdancer in Monrovia's Paynesville neighborhood. Thanks to the help of Isaac Peters, T1 is now about to go to school. I was always trying to find a way to go to school, and luckily I met him. He told me he could help me start school, and he encouraged me with my dancing. He said I should dance at school to motivate my friends outside who are not educated to attend school. Isaac Peters set up this high school after Liberia's civil war to educate street children, but he's been struggling to keep the school up and running. Financial problems mean it's hard to maintain the buildings. There are about 20 teachers for nearly 2,000 children, but only half of the pupils pay fees. Others, like Victor, rely on Isaac's scholarship program, co-financed by the other children. Isaac Peters spent part of his own childhood on the streets.
Living the streets as a child at a time enabled me to secure a good future. And securing a good future is one thing, but it's also helped me to impact the lives of other people. And the street life also gave me an idea on how it looked like to be out there sleeping on the market tables.
After classes, Isaac often heads to the local cemetery where his runaway son Cyrus hangs out.
I feel that I'm obligated to him to transform his life from the grave to someone who will make a difference in life.
Cyrus used to live with Isaac, but then he started stealing and turned violent.
The passion that I have to help many of our children, especially war-affected children and children from the ghetto, I go into the graveyard and take these children from there.
Isaac couldn't find Cyrus today, so he talks to the other boys.
If you want to become a mechanic, we can strike the deal. If you want to become a carpenter, we can strike the deal. If you want to become a plumber, we can strike the deal. Let's meet.
At night, Monrovia is a vibrant city. It's the first time in a long time that Isaac Peters has been able to check out some of the city's clubs. Victor Brown, aka T1, is performing tonight at a dance club where many of Monrovia's street kids go to blow off steam. Some also come here to convince other people to join Isaac Peters High School. But for now, Isaac insists T1 should just concentrate on entertaining his fans.
Our next activist is a journalist who is fighting for albinos in Tanzania. Let's watch Henry Amdimu's story.
It's breakfast time at Henry Amdimu's house in Dar es Salaam. Albinism, the absence of melanin in his skin, is not an issue here at home. But that's not the case elsewhere in Tanzania, where people with albinism are frequently maimed and even killed. Henry Amdimu is a journalist who helps shed light on such crimes. He likes to engage with people, even if his life isn't always easy.
You won't get anywhere if you complicate everything in your life. You have to accept things.
Accept things.
Accept the way you are, and then move on.
Many people in East Africa believe that albinos are ghosts. To change that attitude, Henry Amdimu regularly talks to people without albinism. He then publishes the interviews in his newspaper and on his blog.
If you see a person like me, an albino, walking down the street, what comes to mind?
Some people see albinos as a way of making money. But to me, you are like any other human being.
For over a decade, Under the Same Sun has been fighting for the rights of albinos in Tanzania. The NGO helps those who have been brutally attacked by people who believe albino body parts can bring wealth and good luck. On the black market, a limb of a person with albinism can fetch $5,000, an entire body hundreds of thousands. Mariam Stamford is one such victim. Sometimes I have nightmares about people cutting off my hands. But I thank God that these kinds of nightmares happen so rarely now. Her assailants have never been prosecuted. Crimes against people with albinism are often not fully investigated. That's why Henry Amdimu is working to increase awareness, one person at a time.
I'm trying to convince people to change their minds and be heroes in their societies.
Being the heroes in society.
Henry Amdimu's work is far from over. But one day he hopes to live in a Tanzania where people with albinism can live their lives like any other human being.
Corruption, corruption, corruption. It's not just a buzzword in Africa, it's the reality we live in, and it affects all spheres of our lives. Jonathan Idoma in Liberia is speaking against corruption in the education sector.
Eight o'clock in the morning in Liberia's capital, Monrovia. Jonathan Idoma is a guest on the live show Radio Maria. He reports about the latest incidents of corruption in the education system. The 28-year-old works for the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia. Today he speaks about corruption in schools, about teachers putting money intended for books into their own pockets. The radio show is an important platform for the activist.
It is important because the public
depends on us a lot. There's a lot that is expected of our work by the public, so we always try our best to share the result of our works, our findings, our research, the findings of our research to the public.
Tell us about some of those things that you are currently working.
There's a lot of interest in the show. Every day, more and more people talk about corruption in government institutions and in politics. Despite some initial progress, Liberia recently fell in the world's Corruption Perception Index.
We are the common people who will benefit from the resources that this country has. But all the resources that the country has, we cannot see it because of the corruption.
Corruption is a very, very serious problem in our country. Very serious to the extent that every part of Liberia is being affected by corruption, the public sector and the private sector.
Jonathan Doma and his colleagues at Sental would be fighting a losing battle were it not for their dedicated volunteers. Their problem, when they cover a case of corruption, it doesn't mean that the offender will be punished. The activists aren't giving up, though. In fact, they're starting to see results. Here at the University of Liberia, students are staging a protest against rising tuition rates. They're upset about a lack of transparency. Jonathan will meet with the University Council to clarify some important points.
What will be done with the money that is expected to come from the students, what improvements we expect to see. For example, the institution lacks a functional library, they don't have computer labs, they are talking about internet on campuses. None of them are actually happening here right now.
After a week-long standoff success, the president of the country rules for the status quo to be maintained. There will be no raise of tuition fees for now. More importantly, though, it's a good sign for Liberia, says Jonathan Doma, that more and more young people are stepping up to ask difficult questions.
Radio is intimate, it's direct, it's human, and that's why our next activist is using the medium to push his cause.
These are now victims of a terror drill. Okay. Remember, the word terror comes before the drill. So in the drill, all the way to the government, how is Uhuru reacting where he is? In his country, one person, broadcaster. Mbona umengoja that long?
Sina kwa mse kuna mtu alichoka maji.
Ama popa likamna.
Unaekelewa ati unaekelewa kila.
We finally identified the programming that relates to the youth and fully represent. And I remember the theme that I had in that change is that now I'm going now to create a radio that is a friend. A different radio that is not Mr. Know-it-all, whereby the hosts are assumed knowledgeable and knows. I want to create a radio that can also learn from people.
Conversation iendelee, tuchanuane tukiwa mayuti. Na Ghetto Radio 89.5.
Unajua huko hata nishapata mrembo, nataka kupanda mbegu huko Kataka. Haru Ghetto Radio, pirokti na kukua na sikupoa.
Nikakuja paka hapa. Ule nilikujanga hapa. Nikakuja nikafanyiwa interview. Kufanyiwa interview sasa. Siku ingia mara hiyo siku kuwa presenter hiyo siku. Nikaenda nikamaliza wiki kama moja kwa street. Sonko wetu maji akanitumania. Na wanyosh. Vipi? Yani sawa. Base. Poa. Kanyoba karia twakoma no yo na ne okite ngamuhe kiraro ka ngui. Aria twenda kunyitiro nawe. Ghetto Radio tu nilikuwa tu naisikianga hivyo, saa zingine nilikuwa tu nafungulia Ghetto Radio nasikia marege nikiwa mtaani. Unajua masafara wengi wanapenda Ghetto Radio juu wakati uko pale mtaani ukiweka Ghetto Radio unasikia po ukisikia rege hata kama huna kaki.
Paka hivyo. Kama kazi inakuwa kabisa. Kwa beti jo.
The experiences you could talk of are unheard of, unwritten stories are unheard of. The real experience. Yes, you know somebody is a street boy, so Probably most people know the worst, is Gulu na kulala nje. The beat everyone will know generally. But now when you start to talk, you'll find a lot of issues going on there. But those issues were unbroadcasted.
So what will you be fighting and pushing for this week in your own sphere? And to quote the words of Margaret Mead, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. That's all on Africa on the Move this week. See you again really soon. Bye.
Improper refuse dumping has become a common sight. Elegant edifices, beautiful streets marred with the ugly sights of refuse. What is the right way to go? Well, if you ask me, dispose them off properly, I would say. We shall call him Abdullahi. He is a waste collector. People like him help to collect our refuse and make our environment cleaner. But just where does it end? This is the final destination. On the one part, our immediate environment is clean. On the other hand, it poses a different form of hazards. This explains why the government assigned waste collectors would refer to people like Abdullahi as causing black spots, meaning they actually dispose refuse in places not allocated or specified for the purpose. Apparently, Abdullahi's way may not be the answer. What has government done? Provisions have been made for the most part for waste collection, at least from what we see around. Improper refuse dumping has been a menace in our society, but as you can see from the view here, it is already so littered. Look around me, my surroundings, look at the gutters. It is all littered. Has this become a situation that is normal? Have we become so used to dumping refuse, so much so that we do not care anymore?
So now, some big men, they are from far away, they are throwing the dustbin here. It's not only people are living here, many people are putting dustbin here. So I don't know why they are not more working here again. So please, I'm begging you people, should beg them to come and continue their work.
This refuse here is very causing a lot of problems. At least the waste bin there, I don't know why they take this waste bin out of there. Anybody want to come and throw that, they will put it there. And it's not good. It's for our heads. Look at where they are selling food. At least we will be hailing different type of disease everywhere. And it's not good, and this will cause sickness in our body. Look at children all around everywhere. Understand? So we want the government to do something about it.
See for all the street, everywhere mess up, everywhere they smell. See the waste bin and see dirty, they no fit come pack am. Government no dey help. It's not good now.
What we cannot say is, why is it difficult, for instance, for someone to do this? I use this and do this. It is simple. Why are we not caring for our environment? Why are we not caring for where we live? And even by extension, our health. Is it a problem of society? I do not have the answer. Amaka Okoye, Plus TV, Africa.
The Nigerian film industry, popularly known as Nollywood, is one of the largest export sectors in Nigeria. Nigerian movies are largely popular in Africa, where they currently outsell Hollywood films. As of 2014, Nollywood was worth $5.1 billion and makes up 5% of Nigeria's GDP. Over the years, Nollywood has embraced technology in distributing Nigerian movies with the advent and popularity of platforms such as Iroko TV, Scene One TV, and dedicated Nollywood YouTube channels. In addition, Nollywood has sold out more movies in Nigerian cinemas than Hollywood movies. While we await a more recent report on Nigeria's movie industry GDP, one can naturally expect an uphill climb with what the layman can clearly see.
The industry has evolved. We have a lot of upcoming young, beautiful, well-knowledgeable actresses. I call them actors as well.
Nollywood is an industry that comprises male and female actors. We have also seen the rise of female directors and producers in the last 2 to 3 years and can attest to their successes. Gender inequality in Nigeria is influenced by different cultures and beliefs. In most parts of Nigeria, women are considered subordinate to their male counterparts, especially in northern Nigeria. So, is gender inequality present in Nollywood?
It's vice versa. It's same. Men get roles, women get roles. It's actually better now. Before it was most men had the roles way back. But now it's a lot better. In fact, I think women, the ladies have more roles than the men now.
I think both sexes actually get opportunities because like there was a movie without the other sex, you know. Because a love story, you can't play like a love story with like two guys. It actually has to be like a girl and a guy.
Are men or women being marginalized? Do men have more opportunities than women?
A lot of women are in the industry. I think what we lack is a lot more men in industry because it's really difficult casting, finding the right guy. And it is when you're trying to cast for a male character that you realize that we don't even have enough men.
I do not think that Nollywood discriminates against gender. There are other areas of discrimination, but gender isn't necessarily amongst them.
What is the disparity in earnings for a male lead role and a female lead role? How are the figures decided?
Prices vary based on a lot of things, based on popularity, based on the class of the actor. So you have the A-list, the B-list, the C-list, and what have you. But the prices are basically influenced by popularity and how celebrated the actor is.
As for pay disparity, nobody thinks they're getting paid what they should get paid.
Most fans are of the opinion that there is a gender bias in Nollywood, and going by the lifestyle portrayed by most Nollywood actresses on social media, it seems like they earn more money than their male counterparts. However, people are quick to raise eyebrows when an actress acquires and flaunts luxury items that range from the latest car to buying a mansion. Plus TV Africa's team spoke to the actors, and this is what they had to say.
I wouldn't say that, okay, female make more money than male guys, like male actors and everything, but I would say to each his own. You know, people actually invest in stuff. You know, I mean, like myself, besides acting, I have like 2 businesses as well. I run a security company, and I'm also into furniture as well.
Nollywood is not a place you come to make a fortune. Nollywood is the place you come to get fame, and then you hustle the fame into fortune.
There is something called packaging. And even the Bible says God looks at the heart, man looks at the outward. So therefore, if you are packaged in a certain way, you will be approached and treated in that way.
Because of the economic situation we find ourselves in, both the men and the women in Nollywood have other things that they do aside from apart from acting. So most women, you know, because of the way they have more freebies coming from people who love them online. It works both ways. I see a lot of male actors who look amazingly, in fact, they look actually very beautiful. I would say not just handsome, but they're beautiful and attractive. So I also have a lot of women who love them and probably treat them to a few gifts here and there. So it just works both ways.
Having listened to the actors, it's really difficult to say there is gender inequality in Nollywood.
Thanks for joining us on News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. And here are the stories making the headlines. I am Tokumbo Taiwo. President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered the security agencies in the country to ensure that all bandits are immediately dealt with. He gave the directive when he met with service chiefs on Thursday at the presidential villa in Abuja, the nation's capital. Addressing State House correspondents at the end of the closed-door meeting, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Olonishaki, disclosed that the president issued marching orders to the military to ruthlessly address the security challenges in the country.
And this review strategy is to address all the issues, including kidnapping, banditry, and other associated issues confronting the nation. And we are coming up with a revised strategy to handle those challenges.
Kaduna-Abuja road is now safe. We have cleared the road. We've arrested a lot of the kidnappers, and in confrontation with some of them, some were fatally injured. So the road is cleared. Our patrol teams, the combined security services that are patrolling the road are there constantly 24 hours.
In less than 1 week after the launch of Operation Puff Adder, the Inspector General of Police has ordered his men to halt the rising crime wave and wipe out armed bandits across the country. So far, 10 armed bandits have been killed, 46 suspects arrested, and 18 AK-47 rifles and several arms and ammunition recovered.
I expect you to replicate this strategy in your various commands in order to restore order in the public space and enhance public confidence in the police. Let me reassure all citizens of our renewed commitment to implementing effective strategies towards addressing the current security challenges. The threat might appear challenging, but I can assure that they are surmountable, and we shall provide the requisite leadership needed to address them. While we at the Apex leadership level, we strive to support and motivate you, we shall henceforth not hold back in sanctioning any officer whose dereliction or weak leadership capacity continually occasion increase in crime.
The FCT Police Command says it has raided criminal hideouts of the gangs terrorizing Abuja metropolis. Deputy Commissioner of Police Salisu Gadi, while parading some of those arrested, says the command recovered arms, ammunition, dangerous weapons, hard drugs, and over 20 vehicles stolen by car snatchers.
Intelligence-led policy and proactive measures put in place by the command to combat crimes within the Federal Capital Territory is yielding positive results. These measures have led to the smashing of notorious criminal syndicates, arrest of hardened criminals, recovery of vehicles, dangerous weapons, and other exhibits. The recovery of 4 locally made pistols, 2 toy guns, 11 live ammunitions. All these were recovered from about 10 number of suspected armed robbers. The second recovery, we have 25 number of vehicles of different make recovered from the 9 suspected car thieves, car snatchers that were arrested during the reviewing period. Raids conducted at various black spots within Federal Capital Territory yielded positive results, as dangerous weapons such as knives, cutlasses, and other dangerous weapons like were recovered from over 25 suspects.
The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has reacted to reports that its presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, paid $30,000 to a United States lobby group to assist in the quest to reclaim his mandate. A research group based in the U.S. Center for Responsive Politics, CRP, had claimed that Abubakar was lobbying the United States government not to recognize anyone but him as Nigeria's president-elect. CRP, in a report released last week, alleged that Abubakar was making this effort through some Washington, D.C. lawyers engaged in a 90-day contract worth $30,000. However, the PDP described the report as tissues of lies. In a statement by its spokesperson, Kola Ologbodinyo, on Thursday, PDP insisted that agents of the All Progressives Congress APC-led government were behind the allegation. According to Ologbodinyo, the motive is to use lies, fabrications, threats, and sponsoring of Atiku campaign posters to portray Atiku Abubakar and the PDP as being desperate and ready to subvert the rules in the pursuit of his mandate. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has called on the Minister of Transportation, Chibuike Rotimi Amechi, to join hands with him to develop the state. In a state broadcast on the Supreme Court judgment striking out the appeals by Rivers State APC on Thursday, Wike stated that the state stands to benefit more if all leaders were united. He said, and I quote, "Although the present politics of acrimony and bitterness may have strayed from the noble path of the past, I still believe that we shall be better off standing and working together for our state and our people. I therefore appeal to the APC and the Minister of Transportation, Amechi, to join hands with us to move our dear state forward." Governor Wike further pledged to run an inclusive government aimed at promoting the development of the state. As the 2019 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination UTME begins, the Joint Admission Matriculation Board JAMB has warned candidates against bringing in prohibited items into the examination halls. The examination, which started on Thursday, is expected to hold for about a week across Nigeria. JAMB spokesperson Fabian Benjamin said the items were prohibited in order to secure the sanctity and integrity of the board's examination. He said examination officials are allowed to scrutinize eyeglasses or similar devices, and when convinced that such items may compromise the sanctity of the examination official should confiscate them. List of items prohibited include wristwatches, pens, biros, mobile phones or similar electronic devices, spy reading glasses which should be scrutinized, calculators or similar electronic devices, USB, CD, hard disk or similar storage devices, books or any reading, writing materials, cameras, recorders, microphones, earpieces, ink and pen readers, smart lenses, smart rings and jewelry, smart buttons, Bluetooth devices, automated teller machine cards, erasers, and so forth and so on. And it's time to take a quick break right now. Stay tuned for more news when we return. Sudanese pro-democracy protesters who spent 4 months on the streets rallying against the country's autocratic president are now defying the military leaders who overthrew him on Thursday. Thousands kept up their sitting outside the military headquarters in Khartoum overnight and into Friday morning, despite a curfew imposed by the army after it arrested Omar al-Bashir, which it had warned protesters not to defy. Organizers of the demonstration said they will keep up the campaign, while it was not clear if the army would move against the protesters. The mood in the crowd appeared festive, with protesters playing music and chanting down a reference to the Defense Minister Ahmed Awad Ibn Auf. Auf, who is on a U.S. sanctions list in relation to the genocide in Darfur, was sworn in as the head of a new military transitional council, which said it will take charge for the next 2 years. British Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt says 2 years of potential military rule in Sudan is not the answer for real change in the country. Hunt tweeted on Thursday that Sudan needs a swift move to an inclusive, representative civilian leadership and an end to violence. Sudan's military ousted President Omar al-Bashir hours earlier in response to nearly 4 months of escalating popular protests in which dozens have been killed. The Sudanese defense minister has announced that a military council would rule for 2 years. The military has also suspended the constitution and imposed an emergency clampdown that risks inflaming protesters who have demanded civilian democratic change. The World Health Organization, WHO, said on Friday that it feared outbreaks of infectious diseases due to dirty water and people fleeing fighting near Tripoli, where it was about 2 weeks of emergency supplies for hospitals and health facilities. After a week of fighting, 75 people have been killed and 323 wounded, including 7 civilians killed and 10 wounded. Dr. Saeed Jafar Hussein, a WHO representative in Libya, told a Geneva News briefing by telephone from Tripoli. The WHO representative has delivered trauma kits and medicines to hospitals, he said, adding that these supplies will last for 2 weeks, the acute phase. So far, 6,000 have fled the fighting, but WHO has contingency plans in case thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, are displaced in the acute phase of fighting. The news continues after the short break.
Getting relaxed at a great hotel and spa, shopping in the best malls of this world, and touring the City of Gold. There is just one destination that can make you have all experiences in one. Discover Dubai with WakaNow.com. Book your travel with WakaNow and get free airport pickups in Dubai. WakaNow can book your flights, hotel, tours, and much more. We have an international travel sim for use anywhere in the world with non-roaming rates. Contact WakaNow.com for the cheapest prices to Dubai. WakaNow.com.
The UK government has told civil servants to wind down no-deal Brexit planning after spending around £4 billion on preparing the country for crashing out of the European Union. The Brexit Department's permanent secretary has told staff that in common with the rest of the government, we have stood down our no-deal operational planning with immediate effect in a letter obtained by Sky News. The letter adds that imminent no-deal planning will be closed down in a careful, considered and orderly way across government departments after European leaders agreed to delay Brexit by 6 months until the 31st of October. Prime Minister Theresa May spent months claiming no deal is better than a bad deal and that the United Kingdom would be ready to leave the European Union without a withdrawal agreement if necessary. North Korea named a new nominal head of state, the state media said on Friday, the 12th of April, replacing the 2 senior leaders charged with representing Pyongyang in many international engagements and planning a major role in developing the civilian economy. Cho Ryong-hae was named president of the Presidium of the Supreme People's Assembly of North Korea at a session of its rubber-stamp legislature that took place on Thursday, the 11th of April. Korean Central News Agency, KCNA, said, replacing Kim Yong-nam. The person holding that position is technically considered North Korea's head of state and usually represents the country at diplomatic events, though experts say real power remains concentrated in leader Kim Jong-un's hands. Kim Jong-un also has been elected as chairman of the State of Affairs Commission, again KCNA added. U.S. prosecutors announced charges on Thursday, April the 11th, against WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, accusing him of conspiring with former Army intelligence analyst Chelsea Manning to gain access to a government computer as part of one of the largest compromises of classified information in U.S. history. Assange, arrested by British police in London and carried out of Ecuador's embassy, faces up to 5 years in prison on the American charge. The U.S. Justice Department said in a statement. His arrest paved the way for his possible extradition to the United States. Assange's indictment arose from a long-running criminal investigation dating back to former President Barack Obama's administration. Up next is our business news. The Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, has pledged the federal government support to indigenous inventors and scientists. Dr. Onu made the pledge while hosting Dr. Roland Amadi, the inventor of Iwu Crystal Sealing Board in Abuja. Dr. Onu, while also calling on the private sector to partner with local inventors, says the invention made from locally sourced raw materials will tremendously boost Nigeria's housing sector.
The Federal Ministry of Science and Technology is devoted, dedicated, and we are working round the clock, day and night, to ensure that we encourage all Nigerians who are able to invent anything, any product, who are able to innovate, make improvements to any systems, any products, any services that can help the productivity of our great nation. Because we believe that this is the best way we can create wealth both for ourselves and for our nation, and also help to also create jobs, because we believe very strongly, and the President, President Muhammadu Buhari, is determined to make sure that we'll keep working until we ensure that all those who want to work in our country have the opportunity to do so. We want to assure you that from now on, government will support you. This is a major contribution to the housing industry. Because we need to build enough houses for our people, and we need to make sure that we use materials that can last, materials that will give us the comfort and the aesthetics. I can see how beautiful, this crystal ceiling board is. And we are calling on the organized private sector to come in and work with the inventor so as to commercialize this very important research finding.
The Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, has warned manufacturers, importers and business owners to shun flooding Nigeria's market with substandard goods which can affect consumers. SON, at a sensitization and awareness workshop in Abuja, warned that there are available laws to prosecute offenders, especially those whose actions have direct consequences on the lives of unsuspecting public. It also urged manufacturers and importers not to take the federal government's commitment to improving the nation's ease of doing business for granted.
This is one of those regional sensitization and awareness programs. It is meant to deepen the standardization program, quality assurance, let people know that under standardization and quality assurance and even our metrology and other activities, there are grounds to place sanctions on those who are not conforming to the quality requirements of products, whether manufactured in Nigeria or imported into this country. This is part of those lined up programs that are making the stakeholders, the manufacturers, the consumers, the medium, micro, small and enterprises to know that their products are not just liable to standard requirements, but also there are laws to prosecute them if it has caused damage to life or property.
We need government to do more in the area of creating the enabling environment for manufacturers to operate. The more manufacturers you have, the better for everyone. We know that the government is putting every effort in place to ensure that the index for doing business in Nigeria, or the index for ease of doing business, is quite appreciable. You can now see smaller businesses coming in. People can register their business names with as little as 5,000 naira. You have some workshops or some gatherings where you have virtually all the agencies that regulate registrations and certifications come together. So when you go there, you can register your business, you can get your certifications all in one spot. So yes, I must admit that the effort of government at creating a better enabling environment for doing business in Nigeria is.
And still ahead on Plus TV Africa News is our roundup on entertainment and sports news. We'll be back in a moment.
Open accounts. Get a lot of millions promo is back again, and this time it's bigger, better, and life-changing. Save your way to millions faster than you think. Open any Fidelity account with 20,000 naira, or top up your existing account with 10,000 naira, and stand a chance to win a whopping 1 million or 2 million in our monthly draw. That's not even all. Listen, there's more. Guess what? Open an account with 50,000 naira, or top up an existing savings account with 50,000 naira, and you could win 3 million naira. Fidelity Bank definitely did not come to play at all. Maintain an average balance of 200,000 naira and you could win the grand prize of 10 million naira. I'm now a millionaire. I love Fidelity. You too can save your way to millions. Hurry to any Fidelity Bank and start saving today. Or simply scan the QR code on all promotional items to open an account and participate. Many consolation prizes and weekly cash prizes up for grabs.
We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
That is how we get looped into a cycle of insanity, repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. That cycle of failure is unsustainable and it has to end now.
Perfection Train is back.
They take us to the bush and start asking us to call our people to send money.
What can be done as an intervention for them right now to stop abuse of all children?
And in entertainment, popular American talk show host Wendy Williams has filed for divorce from her husband of over 20 years, Kevin Hunter. The petition was filed on Thursday, the 11th of April in New Jersey. A spokesperson for the Wendy Williams show told reporters in a statement, "We respect their privacy regarding personal matters. As always, we remain committed to bringing an entertaining and topical show to our viewers." Williams and Hunter married in 1997, and together they have a 19-year-old son. Hunter serves as Williams' manager and is also a producer on her show. In the past, she had addressed speculation that her marriage was in trouble by telling viewers she was still very much in love with her husband and that marriages have ebbs and flows, and said for them not to ask about hers until it was gone, and categorically stated that her marriage wasn't going anywhere, at least not in this lifetime. Up next is sports. And in sports, Chelsea prevented 3 people from entering the stadium for Thursday's Europa League quarter-final at Slavia Prague after a video appeared to show them singing an abusive song about Liverpool forward Mohamed Salah, as they were apparently chanting "Salah is a bomber" repeatedly. 3 of the 6 people in the video were identified and barred, and Chelsea are working to identify the other 3 who did not turn up. The individuals will face bans from the club if they are found to be season ticket holders or members. The video was circulated on social media on Thursday prior to Chelsea's match at the Sinobo Stadium in Prague, in which they won following a late header by Marcos Alonso. Still on sports, Arsenal defeated Napoli by 2-0 in the Europa League quarter-final tie to keep hope alive of winning a European silverware this season. But the coach of the side, Unai Emery, said it is still 50-50 despite the first leg win at the Emirates Stadium. The goals came in the first half of the encounter courtesy Aaron Ramsey's cool finish and an own goal by Kalidou Koulibaly, who deflected Lucas Torreira's shot past goalkeeper Alex Meret. Napoli, who are second in Serie A, host the Gunners in the second leg next Thursday at the San Paolo Stadium. Napoli boss Carlo Ancelotti said he's still confident of progressing to the last 4. And that's it on sports, and also that's it on our news roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube page at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Do join us again. I'm Tokumbo Taiwo. Have a great day. You're watching Plus TV Africa, and this is Tea Time.
I loved the energy when I came in here. It was so positive. I was like, I can't live here.
My real names are Akbofio Kubo, Akbolubo Mere.
I think my father is a comedian, because most times when he calls me, he's like, yo, make sure you use condom, you know, them girls out there.
So are you telling me I should have shot my shots?
Ife, you are my younger brother.
Age is nothing but a number. What? I'm a vampire.
I believe in equal rights for women, and I also believe that a man is the head of the house, so we need to draw our limits somewhere. It feels so good. Now can I do my jam now?
Yeah, you can.
Thank you.
The Brazilian who, with the longer blades that Oscar wasn't too impressed with, 200 metres, but we must stress, absolutely legal.
Sounds of the surf.
Yeah. Now that he's a hater, I don't want no bad energy. Man get used by a radar, but you can't see my energy.
And this time they are away, and Peacock goes away strongly.
She wants a man from London, she wants a fellow with felonies. That's probably my team. There's no I in it, I bring it on my team. Just when it's all my team. Don't be a sheep when you can be gold. Break this about time and you never know. Don't show up to my show.
This is
Got
absolutely
no
marvelous.
energy. Energy. Alright. Energy.
Fairness, justness, balance, and credibility, as well as integrity. That's what Plus TV Africa is. The way people are going to be able to trust anything that comes out of this continent is when those who are the storyteller about the continent are reliable, dependable, and credible. Tell the story with the emotion of Africans, with the passion of Africans, with the interest of Africans. The story changes from here right now on Plus TV Africa.
Hi guys, welcome to Tea Time, where we bring you the very latest in the world of entertainment. This morning we're going to be chatting with a Nollywood actor, and we'll be telling you who that is later on in the program. I am Tokumbo Taiwo, and I'm here with the regulars, Elsie Godwin and Ife Oshunkeye. Hi guys.
Hi,
morning. Morning. Okay, so there's a story on Alex, and she went shopping.
Grocery shopping.
Yes, and she had a bit of an encounter when she went shopping. But I would imagine that she normally has something like that on a regular basis, but I don't know. Elsie, why don't you tell us your take on this story?
I don't want to believe she gets this on a regular basis, and I understand why she's quite upset, because if you know the biscuit she's talking about, you know it's not cheap. And then you picked the big one, not even the medium size, and on top of that, you just go to get the prize. Oh, okay. You go and come back with another pack of yogurt, and I mean, your poverty must be an expensive poverty, because I don't
think he's really poor though, or he was just taking advantage. The fact that, okay, he has seen that she's willing to pay for the biscuits, now he decides that, okay, she's willing, let me add something else.
And that is why it's a problem, because why would you want to do that? Because
but the thing is, also, does that even reflect poverty? If you're going for biscuit and yogurt, that doesn't show that you're really, really hungry.
What does it reflect?
I think it's if it's like,
that's why I said expensive one now. I mean, maybe you want to help, I don't know.
That is not, that's for me, it's like, you're not hungry. If you're hungry, you'd ask for the most basic food. You know, biscuit wouldn't be the first thing on your list. Yogurt wouldn't be the first thing on your list. You want, if you're really hungry,
it's a supermarket, not a booker.
Yeah, but even
I think the same supermarket she was talking about, you can buy food there actually.
Really?
Minus food. There are other things that if you're really, really hungry, I'm telling you, biscuits is not the first thing you would go for. There's so many other food items in the world, and for you to not just reach for not just any biscuits, like one of the most expensive, and it's like, oh no, this guy is not hungry. And then yogurt as well.
My CEO's favorite.
You know, I've seen people who just beg for money to eat unimaginable things. When I say unimaginable, or maybe I should say unimaginable portion of food, like after going around to beg, they use almost everything. It's more like, you know, when we say your village people, maybe your village people curse you with food. They use everything they get to buy large portion of food and just sit and eat. So it's probably, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain his issue. He alone can explain it, but I can understand Alex's frustration. He also followed her to collect transport fare.
That's the thing, even more annoying. So, all right, let's wait to hear what Ife has to say.
He's just laughing. He's not
saying. Exactly, he has not said anything. So let's hear what he has to say. Are you supporting Alex, or are you supporting our hungry fellow?
I'm not supporting the hungry fellow, and I'm not supporting Alex either.
Okay.
Yes, we all have encounters with these beggars, and we have always said that the begging culture in Nigeria is extreme.
You know what? Immediately you said that. If sorry to cut you, I just remembered your incidents that you had with the.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I only said that because we were having a conversation in that line, and that was the reason I said that on the show. But even the Bible says, if you give with your right hand, your left hand shouldn't know. So even if you're upset about this and you have decided that you have a big heart, because she kept saying it in, I don't know if you guys were picking up on the write-up, my big heart won't let me. Like you were giving yourself props and feeling like you were doing a good deed.
So you had problems
Why
with
bring
that?
it up on Twitter. Why tell us all about this? If it was an interview and then she spoke about this while they were talking about something related to this, it's totally different. But I think this is clout.
But you know, people use social media to vent off sometimes, just air things that they want to.
If that was what she was doing, I don't have a problem with that. But I just felt it was so unnecessary.
All right, Ife, we're leaving it there. Let's move on. We're going on a quick break. When we come back, we'll be introducing our studio guests. We'll be right back.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years. 10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
Welcome back. You're watching Tea Time right here on Plus TV Africa. And right about now, it's time to introduce our studio guest. He's an actor and also a photographer as well. Most of you would have seen him in one movie or another, or a popular TV advert where he was featured for Google app. Although some know him as Chad, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce Chimela Azurunwa. Welcome on the show.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So are you Chimela or Chimela? Which one? Let's understand. Because you see Chimela here, you see Chimela here.
And
so
Chad.
Chaz.
Chaz. Oh, my bad. Okay, Chaz.
So my name is Chimela Azurunwa. Everybody at home calls me Chimela. Chimela started when some of us Sabi people decided, no, the more Igbotic name is Chimela.
Okay. But it means same thing, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is not something I talk about on a regular basis, but I can't help but bring it up because I know at one point in time, you know, you completely shaved off. Are you growing it back again to the usual length? And what even led to you shaving off in the first instance?
So shaving off. First of all, I am growing it back to the usual and even more. So shaving it off came as a result of the Google ad that you spoke about.
Okay. But in the ads, you still had the beard on.
Yeah, but there was a transition.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had to look younger for the earlier part of it. So yeah. So we shot the end bits where the beard was full, and then we shot the latter part.
Wow. Yeah. Interesting. So now that your reason for growing it back, what's the reason for that now?
I like the look.
Oh, I see. I thought you were growing it for a particular role.
Sorry?
Intimidators.
Oh, no.
So you're not growing it for a particular role?
No, not exactly.
Okay.
The thing is, without it, I look...
much younger.
Yes.
Yes.
And people, when I tell people my age, they're like, no, you can't be.
So what's your age then, since you bring it up?
So in, what's today's date, 12th? In 10 days, I'll be 40.
Wow! Wow!
Yes.
You don't look 40.
Exactly.
And I can imagine if you take
without
exactly.
But that's a good thing.
So if it's like you wanted to ask
yes, I want to talk about Nollywood. Like, what attracted you to Nollywood? Acting, doing adverts, and also, what is your prediction for Nollywood in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, let me start from there. In the next 5 years, I see us taking our place on the global stage. Yeah, our stories are getting better. Picture quality has gotten better. Like with the movie industry, picture quality has gotten better. Our songs have gotten better. Yeah. So Nollywood is getting there. Nollywood is getting there. That a lot of people, I don't want to name names, but a lot of people writing good stories, producing good movies. One person that I would always give props to is Blessing Ebe on B Concept. She produced this thing called Marriage that I was on. Amazing story. Even till date, it was produced in 2015 or 16. And even till date, when people watch it, I still get calls that, wow.
Okay.
You know,
can you give, can you call someone up where you have no involvement whatsoever that you think is really up to par in today's industry?
There are lots of them.
Okay.
Lots of them. There's Iroko TV, Mary Remy. There's someone that a lot of people don't know yet, but is gradually coming out. His name is Muiwa Luko.
Okay.
Yeah, Wax Camera Action Production. He's amazing. He's an amazing story writer. He's an amazing director. There's Biodo Stevens. She just produced Joba, and it's amazing.
Okay, before you continue on your first question, because I know you are not done, you mentioned the songs, and I think we've not really talked about the kind of songs in Nollywood, right? Are they really that bad?
Are they really that bad?
Were they that bad?
Are you asking that question?
Yes,
like if the scene is a brother about to go and kill his brother, I say, he don't go kill him, brother. They told you the story in the song already.
Everything. Casted. So what's
that bad?
Much thought wasn't put into it. And then we are a society that likes music and dance. That's what has played out in a lot of our jingles, in a lot of our adverts. So it just naturally carried into movies, into songs, everything. But we're getting better, lyrically, beats and everything. So.
Okay.
So I asked you what attracted you to Nollywood. Was it the fame, passion, or money?
No, it wasn't fame. Passion, yes. Money. Is there money in Nollywood? Yes, there is money in Nollywood, actually. So yes, passion.
And money? Yes, of course. You have to put food on your table, bro.
Yes, you have to put food on your table, but we're getting there. You don't see actors making the kind of money they do in Hollywood, yet, but we're getting there.
Okay, what puts food on your table? I mean, you are almost 40. And you're an actor.
Because I was going to go
there. And you are still insisting that there's no money in Nollywood. So what's putting food? Really?
So I'm a photographer.
Okay.
That puts food on my table. I'm a serial entrepreneur as well. So yeah, and then the adverts. So.
I wanted to actually hone in on the photography thing because I wanted to find out like your transition from that to
behind the camera to
exactly. So like, tell us how that came about. It's a long story.
Why are you guys? Okay, so some people close to me say that I might have a bit of OCD.
Okay.
Yeah. I can be a perfectionist at times. I'm learning to, grow past that now. But it was a passion for wanting to see things done better. The way things were filmed, the way actors, were acting. A part of me knew, okay, I love this thing. I know it can be better. I know it can be done better. Okay, instead of criticizing, everybody takes a back seat criticizing and,
and they don't do anything.
What can you do? So that was it for me. And then I tried and, okay. I can actually do this thing. I'm good at it.
So no one persuaded you or no one suggested it or no one advised you?
Advice, no. Persuaded, kind of. My first production was a film by a friend, Belinda Yanga. She was holding auditions for her film. And then we had gone through, I was helping her out, just helping her out, just being around. We had gone through a series of people, a number of people.
Auditions?
Yeah, and no one was getting what she wanted. No one was reading the script, the excerpt like she wanted. And there was someone there, someone was reading, And he read, and I could see the angst on her face. And I said, okay, why don't you try it like this? I was talking to the person I was reading. Why don't you try it like this? And then I read it, and everybody just told and looked at me like, so why have we been wasting time? So I went on to play that role, and rest is history, as they say.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about the creativity in adverts, because the advert you featured in was very, very, very creative. It's something new, and we really liked what we saw. So let's talk about the creativity of adverts in Nigeria. So what's your take on that? Do you think we're getting better, or you think we can do better? Being a perfectionist, like you said.
I'm recovering.
Sometimes.
The creativity. We are getting better. Am I allowed to name brands?
No.
No. Okay. There's a particular brand that for me, their adverts weren't up to par before. They were the regular things we had, jingles, you hear someone singing and then they pass across a message. But then at a point, we saw an ad where someone went to an island, was stranded on an island, and then he was trying to get off the island, make a call, and then he burst into a setting where everything was, set, and everybody had connection and everything. And that, from there, we could mark a progress, a change in how people thought about adverts.
Okay.
So you played...
Sorry, let's go on a quick break. Yes, let's go on that quick break. When we return, we'll continue to talk to our studio guest, Nollywood actor and photographer Chimela. We'll be right back.
Olúwa ṣẹ́gun fún mi. Ó ṣé mo dúpẹ́. Gbogbo ilé lẹ fi tó gift. Mo rí ikọ̀ tún ni. Mo ń sọ fún ẹ lójoojúmọ́ pé gbogbo tó ń ṣe fún mi, ọmọ á ṣe fún ẹ nílọ́po. Abiyamọ ayé, abiyamọ ọ̀run, wọ́n súre fún mi. Ìbàjẹ́ kéré ó tóbi kò ní kàn ẹ́. Ọmọ òní ní kò gbé tiwa kò ń gé jẹ. Ọmọ òní tí ẹ lọ síbi tó ò lérò. Ní gbogbo ọjọ́ ayé ẹ ò ní ríbi. Bí wọ́n bá ń pín wàhálà ìdààmú, ò tiẹ̀ ní rówó rà. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni, ò ní kábàámọ̀. Ẹni tó máa bá ṣe tó máa kó bá ìgbé ayé ẹ kò ní bẹ́ẹ̀ rí, wọn náà ò ní bá rí. Ọmọ á dùn ẹnu, àbùkù ò ní kàn ẹ́ o. Ayé ò ní rí ẹ mú o. Mo sọ fún ẹni tinútinú tó kù. Lọ́lá ọyàn méjèèjì tó mú nígbà yà ni. Mo súre fún ẹ, eré àmú ẹ. Abiyamọ ayé, abiyamọ ọ̀run, wọ́n súre fún ẹ. Ó yẹ sáré gbé bàbá wọlé, ó ti ṣú ara, ó ti tọ́ ara, kò ní jẹ́ tiẹ̀. Wọnú ògo tuntun lọ, Olúwaṣẹ́gun. Wọnú ògo tuntun lọ. Ó yá wọnú ògo tuntun lọ. Wọnú ògo tuntun. Ẹlẹ́dàá mi.
Mami, airtime yín kọ́.
Ṣé ìwọ ti rókun tó gbẹ̀rí? O ti rí ọ̀sà kó gbẹ̀rí? Kò lè gbẹ́ndì.
Àmímà.
Àwọn ò lè ń sọ̀rọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀.
Lórí àtàwọn ọ̀rẹ́ mi.
Àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ ó yá fi sí spíkà.
Wọ́n ń gbọ́ yín.
Ní ẹ̀bùn ńlá tọ́mọ mi gbé wá fèmí yìí. Ọlọ́run á ràn yín lọ́wọ́, ẹ̀yin náà lè ṣerú ẹ̀ fáwọn.
Ẹ ṣàmì mo tún ṣàdúrà. Àmímà.
Get 10 times your recharge value to call and browse anyhow. Recharge with *220 star the pin hash to enjoy this offer. Available to new and existing subscribers.
Mr. Anansa, èmi ń gbàdúrà, ìwọ ń polówó ọjà, ìwọ náà borí ẹ̀ wá kó wá gbàdúrà. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni, á dáa fún ẹ. Ṣé orí bó ti ń tajà fẹ́ lòmíì? Àwọn máa sìn ìwọ náà àdìrú wà dìgbà, ayé àdára, ò ní dààmú.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. You're watching Tea Time right here on Plus TV Africa. Next up is a continuation of our interesting conversation with our studio guest, Nollywood actor and photographer Chimela. Okay, so before the break, Ife was going to ask the question.
Yes, so in the popular advert you've been talking about, you played the role of a father, so I can help but talk about your personal life. So Chimela is almost 40. Is Chimela married?
Not yet.
Engaged?
No.
Because I
With
saw a photo. I saw a photo. Oops.
A girlfriend?
I don't need to answer that, yeah?
No, you need to answer.
I need to answer that?
Oops.
Really?
Oh, he was going to, but now...
Right now, no, I'm not in a relationship.
Okay. You see,
Side
what
chicks.
I want to...
The first not done.
It's not done, yes. Let me just wait.
Side chicks.
I'm talking to a couple of people, yes.
A couple of them.
Yes.
Okay.
Player.
Right, so one of the things I wanted to say, because I noticed on your Instagram page there was I didn't know what the whole, if it was a concept or if it was a video or something that you were doing, but I saw you were, you know, groomed to be the, you know, the groom, and then there was a picture of your bride. So tell us about that then. Was that make believe, or what was that all about?
Okay, so that's that was the poster image for a short film by a friend of mine on postpartum depression. That's to come out soon, so look out for it.
Okay, because I saw so many pictures, I was like, okay, is he getting married or not? All right, so one of the things that you said earlier on is the fact that you're no longer a perfectionist. Yes, so I just wanted to find out, are you making apologies for being a perfectionist, you know, in the past, or do you think people shouldn't make apologies for being perfectionists?
I don't think people should make apologies for being who they are, but then as you go in life, you grow, hopefully. You get to a point where you have to accept people for who they are. Relate with them based on who they are. If you can, if you can positively influence them to be better, fine. But don't carry shoulder for anybody, really.
Yeah, but my point is, you know, the fact that you're a perfectionist, I'm like, I have a feeling that you're beginning to lower, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just a feeling, you know, that you might be lowering your standards because, you know, you're trying to appeal to a larger number of people.
Not at all.
No, okay, all right.
Standards are standards. There's a way I like things being done, but then I'm realizing, I'm growing into the realization that the goal is the objective. That 1,000 ways to Jankara Market. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. In the production, aside being an actor, what other things can you deliver?
Can I deliver? Directing.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I have a knack for helping people bring out a side of them that they might not know that they have, might not be comfortable showing. I think I have a knack for making people feel comfortable around me. So I notice that people talk about themselves when they're around me. I'm a good listener, I think, and people are relaxed. People can, and I can, you know, suggest ways of seeing things with different perspectives. So yes.
So when you're not behind the camera or in front of the camera, what do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? I love the beach. I love meeting people. I love adventure.
And you do a lot of traveling, don't you? Or not that much?
Around Nigeria. I haven't been outside Nigeria yet, but very soon.
What's the craziest thing you say you've ever done?
Craziest?
Yes. I like that laugh.
No, I will still shield myself.
No, just tell it.
No, nothing crazy. Some people would consider climbing the Lekki Conservation
Canopy walk. Because you did that some time back as well.
Yes, I did.
And you enjoyed it, or was it scary?
Absolutely, I enjoyed it.
He just shielded himself because we run through that canopy like it's nothing, bro. don't make it look like it's that scary.
Oh no. So the thing is, I went with a couple of friends. Don't do this at home, guys. with the group of friends I was with, I shook the rope. Yeah, and the thing was swaying, and everybody was there, and I got a kick from it. From here. Hey.
The most embarrassing moment?
Getting drunk in uni. It was horrible. So after that, I literally stopped. It took a bit more time, but stopped drinking alcohol. Yeah.
Due date?
Embarrassing. Yeah. What was embarrassing about it?
What was embarrassing about it?
What, did you actually do something, or did you say something? Or?
Okay, so I mixed drinks.
Okay.
I was with friends and young, very young. I think maybe year 1 or 2 or so, and we were mixing drinks, taking, you know, it was a bring your own booze kind of party, and then we had all mixed drinks, and it was at the beach. And at a point, I felt, because of the cool breeze or something, I don't know, I felt I was swimming, so I was swimming in sand. Oops! I was having the time of my life. And by the time I came to, you know, nah, it was horrible.
Is there a video?
Oops. No.
Social media wasn't that active then.
I think cell phones, so it was them flip phones.
Okay.
So there was no, no video cameras.
All right. Before we wrap up, I've been meaning to ask you this question. Did you, when you were growing up, well, in school actually, did you do some acting activities that has helped you in your acting career now?
Not in school.
Okay.
Church.
Oh, in church?
Yes.
Okay.
Like
all right.
people.
Okay, we're going to leave it there because we're out of time.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
I was going to say something very funny, right?
That's precisely where we're going to wrap up this morning. We're back, though, later this afternoon for the hottest entertainment news. Until then, a big thank you to my co-anchors Ife, Elsie, the entire production team, our group of stylists, Critics Empire and Liz Harrison, and of course, our guest on the program, actor Chimela. Thank you very much for coming on
Thank you for having me on the show.
I'm Tokunbo Taiwo saying thanks for watching, and from all of us here, have yourself a good morning.
Brazilian who, with the longer blades that Oscar wasn't too impressed with, the 200 metres, but we must stress, absolutely legal.
Sounds of the surf.
Yeah. Loud at you, he's a hater. I don't want no bad energy. Man get used by radar, but you can't see my enemy.
And this time they are away, and Peacock goes away strongly.
She wants a man from London. She wants a fellow with felonies. That's probably with my team. There's no I in it. I bring it on my team. That's when it's so much team. Even the bouncers bounce when it's so my team. You wanna never know. Don't be a sheep when you can be bold. Great, it's about time and you never know. Don't show up to my show.
This is
Got no
absolutely marvelous.
energy.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye. Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Event is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. Like, no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, no.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity. No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
This TV station, Plus TV Africa, is designed to help to create a paradigm shift. that the more we tell our stories, the more we learn from whatever our past mistakes have been.
We can be much more than we are. We should be doing a lot in refineries.
And we are definitely investing in our staff. We're training, we're developing, we're creating the kind of workforce that will be the envy of the international broadcast. The quality of the reportage, the quality of our presentation, the quality of our production will be obvious. We're saying that we want to reach Africans wherever they are and get the message across to them. That's what Plus TV Africa is all about.
The House of Representatives on Tuesday asked President Muhammadu Buhari to appear before it and address Nigerians on the spate of insecurity across the country. The House said failure by the President to explain the issues raised by the Legislative House would confirm the opinion of Nigerians that the administration had failed in its responsibility to protect lives and property. The President had been summoned. Will the issue and the rippling effects be resolved? Well, I do not know. Joining me in the studio this evening to have this conversation, Ugochukwu Ikeako. He's a political analyst. It's good to have you join us, Ugo.
Thank you for having me.
We also have Dixon Osaje. He's a security expert. It's good to have you join us, Dixon. All right. So, I mean, gentlemen, we know that this is not an issue that is far-fetched. We all live on planet Earth, especially in this country. And we've heard of all the drama that has been happening in the space of 1 week, if not 2 weeks, going on 2 weeks. Now, for Governor Aminu Masari of Katsina State has lamented that bandits have taken over his state. He actually said that, you know, they don't even stop at kidnapping people on the streets. They go to your house, take you from your house, and, you know, do whatever they like. And sometimes they end up killing these people. So you're a security expert, and I'm wondering, we're still trying to deal with Zamfara. Here we are. Katsina is saying, I mean, the Zamfara State governor decided that he was resigning as the chief security officer. Do we see Masari doing the same thing?
You see, we need to understand one fact. When governors begin to call themselves as chief security officer, that word is so heavy. By right, and what's happening now, the commissioner of police is supposed to be the chief security of the state, because the state governor has no sense of security applications, has no reasoning about security, architecture, and everything.
But it's also part of his responsibility to protect lives and property.
Yes, it's part of his responsibility. Because the way we are practicing our politics now, the state governor cannot even give commissioner of police an order. That is to tell you how bad it is. The state governor in the state cannot even give the commissioner of police order to carry out security instructions. The police commissioner has to take order from Abuja. Okay, looking at the state of insecurity in the country now, it's really, really worrisome, and it's beginning to look as if there are fogs of war, because for any country to go into war, these are the symptoms we usually experience, and it's a worrisome situation. I want to believe that we will get out of this situation.
How do we get, I mean, I like, don't get me wrong, I like optimism in cases like this. But there are too many pockets of violence, and they're happening back to back, and they seem to have also reprisals.
The space. You know, the last time I came here, we spoke about our border security. I was privileged to get an information from one ex-armed robber who happens to be a pastor now, a well-known international armed robber in Nigeria. He's a pastor now in Nigeria, and he said something, and I quote, he said, while he was succeeding his exploit those days, he took advantage of the vulnerabilities of our borders. And that is just the truth. Now you can see after the war in Libya and the happenings in Sudan, most people migrated into the country. And our border security was so porous in the sense that a lot of migrants took opportunity of our vulnerabilities. And the reason why they took that opportunity is that there is fighting going on in Maiduguri, there's fighting going on in Yobe, and Zamfara issue has also came on board. It's really worrisome. And now they have taken it to the president's hometown. Today, the president called up the service chief, was it yesterday or today? And he has given them a drastic order, a serious order to terminate all this issue. Because the military, on their own part, they are looking at it in a form that they don't want to go into intensive, aggressive assault, so that the human rights will not come aboard and start saying XYZ. Yeah, but I believe in the military, they did a very good job yesterday or 2 days back in Zamfara, dissipating about 8 insurgent camps. The situation is really worrisome. And in Katsina, for instance now, the state governor, Masari, is worried about the situation, and he has said that some people are being kidnapped right in their homes. That is a very, very big situation, because most of these conflict entrepreneurs now, they have taken advantage of our vulnerabilities. They knew we are not effective enough in putting in security applications in place, because here in Nigeria, what we do, we are responsive. We go after the loss instead of going before the loss. And that's what security entails. When we talk about crime prevention, we have to go before the loss, not after the loss. And if we go after the loss, damages must have been incurred at that period of time, and loss of lives and property must have taken shape that period of time. So the state governor now needs to relax, have a meeting with the security team in board, because the way we are approaching security in this country is not we don't plan it. You know, there's a statement that when disasters strike, the time to prepare has passed. When all this incident is taking place, when Zamfara was being hit, Maiduguri and other northern parts are being hit, other states are being relaxed. For you to take opportunity of incident taking place in other states, you need to plan. Even Lagos State, we need to start planning, putting in security applications in place, responsive measures in place, so that peradventure, when disasters strike, we will not be thinking of planning.
I'll put a pin on that and come back, because I have some more questions. But Ugo, we see a trend. The governors seemingly showing that they're somewhat overwhelmed. They're crying for help. They're asking the federal government. And one would wonder, what about the security? Because every state has a security apparatus of some sort. And again, some of these issues start as tiny skirmishes, maybe communal clashes or one thing here or there. How come we never ever nip these things in the bud until they escalate to the point that it is right now?
I think it's important that we note that, like Dixon rightly said, we live in a country where we're good at being reactive. With everything our leadership has been designed over the years to be reactive. Zamfara didn't just start this year. We had incidents in Zamfara last year. We had incidents in Katsina last year. All right. The first time I think the governor of Borno went to the presidency to cry, it was sometime last year. That was when these issues when these issues started, that came to the national limelight. So my point is this. All right. What is happening in Zamfara cannot be fixed with a drastic himself to fix some of these issues. All right. We're talking about, like, for example, like Zamfara and Katsina. All right. I've been privileged to travel to Katsina. I've not been to Zamfara before, but we're talking about places that the landmass is huge. A lot of these places are ungoverned spaces. That's number one. Then number two, you have the issue of banditry. You have the issue of like you said, porous borders, and it's not just about the military.
But is that just the job of the president? Because as much as the governors are asking the presidency to do something, well, yeah, maybe because these security apparatuses, I hope I'm correct, only answer to the power at the center. Maybe that is why. I'm just saying. But what are you doing as the man at the helm of affairs in that enclave? What are you doing to reach out to the people in those areas who can actually help you to deal with the issue before we can even bring force in?
See, the thing is this, right? When APC came in 2015, let's flash back, all right? Then we had issues about security in this country. It was prominent. It was at the center stage. It was part of the thing that drove the conversation in 2015. They made some promises, all right? The part of the cardinal point of the administration then that they plan to achieve was security, all right, economy, and one other thing I can't remember at this point.
Which is also talking about corruption.
Corruption, yes. But our focus is on security, and the issue is this: from 2015 up to now, there's been no reforms in terms of fixing our security architecture. As a country, the security architecture of this country is broken.
Well, the president will make that excuse. I don't know if it's an excuse, but he will tell you that in his administration they have recruited more policemen to help with the number of policemen in the country.
Nigeria as a country, the police force is understaffed. We don't have enough manpower. So that's not the recruiting. Are you recruiting them to? Are you training them to today's reality, to international standards of today? Is it the same policemen that cannot stand? They are not fit. So I don't understand. So, but the thing is this. The problem with this country is that we miss every crisis moment. All right. If we can sit back at this point, it's not yet too late. If we can sit back at this point, drive a conversation. All right. Start mapping out the next security architecture for this country for the next 20, 30 years. Because the issue is this: we're having issues of migration. We're having issues of border. We're having issues of small arms proliferation. Like I said, after the crisis in Libya, you have Niger that is close to some of these northern states. All right, you have a large influx of small arms into this place. I know what's going to happen after Zamfara and Katsina. I'm telling you here, and I'll still come back and repeat it again. The next crisis hotbed will be the North Central, because what's happening right now is that in Zamfara and in Katsina, you see the banditry and the headers. They kill cows, they kill livestock and the rest of them. So all these headers now will try and find their way back to the North Central. And when it comes back again, now we still have more issues. So the thing is this: it's not about sending soldiers. It's fine to do that, but what are they doing with other security agencies? Like you talk about the immigration officers. You talk about the people in charge of borders. These are the conversations we're supposed to be having right now, and this is what the president is supposed to be driving with his guys. And also, most importantly, the Ministry of Internal Affairs. All right, they should be letting Nigeria know this is what we're doing and everything. If they can't do that, I don't think they can fix it just by giving out orders.
Back to you, Osaje. He made a point which you also made, and I want to go back to that. We're very reactionary. Whether it be security, whether it be emergencies, we're very reactionary. We never ever think 10 steps ahead of whatever it is. We don't pre-plan. Hence the reason why we have these kind of issues. I mean, let's use Itafaji, for example. We know that there's so many houses that are built wrongly, but we did not take the measures early enough until what happened. Exactly. I'm trying to understand, why is it so difficult for us in this country to be proactive? Especially when it comes to issues that have to do with security of human lives.
Nigerian lives don't matter to our leaders. Nigerian lives don't matter to our leaders, and it's very, 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 very sad. Because looking at Zamfara, for example, in between 2010, 11, when the incident transpired, the incident began between the headers and the farmers' clashes. The state governor himself and the government of the day, they just look at it until it started generating. The issue of our borders, when you look at the immigration service are not well staffed, because the immigration service are supposed to be in charge of our border patrol, because there are 8 divisions in the immigration service, that's 8 directorates, and one of the directorates in the immigration service is the border management. Now look at immigration, for example. Statistics as of a few years ago shows that immigration service are up to 25,000. Now, if every one of us as a Nigerian stretch our hands like this, as strides, to surround this country, we can't surround this country. If 180 million people bring their hands this way to surround Nigeria, they can't surround this country. To tell you the landmarks of this country, we are about 923,000 square kilometers large. Now, it is quite regrettable that we have about 1,410 illegal entry points where smugglers come into this country. And I told you about the story about the Nigerian repented armed robber.
Yeah.
So now, if we want to do something very properly, we need to go back to the drawing board, because we are not managing our security agency properly. In every little thing, we bring out our military. In every little thing, we bring out our military. Now, like those days when we were growing up, you know, before you bring out your strengths, you must have exhausted all avenues before you bring out your most strength. In every little thing, we are bringing out our military, and that is why our military has been exposed to numerous dangers and activities, and there's no pride in the military again, because if anything happens, you want to bring in soldiers, people say, and they're even taking the attack to the soldiers. I told you, for instance, when I was in Cross River State ECOM as a soldier, when an incident is happening, for example, in Yako local government, that is in Ugep, right? When we start moving from ECOM before we get to Four Corners, they've gotten information in Yakor that this military are coming. Everybody will take off. That is to tell you how effective the military was as a then. That is to tell you how respectable the military was.
So you're saying that we've demystified
the military. Yeah, we have. Because imagine in election, we brought out all the army. And I saw a Nigerian Air Force jet. In election, we are using Air Force jet. If a jet takes off from here and something is happening in Lekki, the jet will be in Benin. It will just be in Benin. The jet will arrive Benin before you can even see what's happening. Why are we using a jet? We are mismanaging our military, and that is just the truth. I was online live yesterday from Beijing, China, and I was speaking with the interviewer. And they were trying to ask me, what is the problem? Why is it that the military government, the Nigerian government are not doing so well in tackling this issue? How can we be losing more lives and nobody cares? Because what everybody cares in this country is their stomach. Nobody believes they will die one day in this country. And I don't think, like me, each day I wake up, I knew I am getting closer to the grave. And that is putting me on check and making me to understand that this life we're just passing by. But our leaders don't have that in their mind. Now, coming back to Katsina, for instance, what they need to do now is for them to relax. You see, in fighting terrorism, our military needs to understand one fact. Military might cannot defeat terrorism. There's nowhere in the world you can use military might to defeat terrorism. And that is why they need to know. And I'm trying to send a message to the presidency. They are making a mistake to think that military might can defeat terrorism. It's a big mistake.
So many intelligent security experts like you, many trained in so many, places across the world. And I don't want to believe that we do not have these people also working with the National Security Council.
Yeah, the problem
is the problem not taking those advice or consultations that, whatever it is, the ideas that these people are sending in the direction of the presidency, or is it that we're finding it very difficult to, I don't know, implement it? I'm trying to understand, yeah.
See, it's important that you understand, all right? See, no country or no company can rise above their culture. All right, we're in a country where if there's a new rise of maybe violence within a particular place, you see the special advisors to the president or people that are supposed to know better. All right, will go and tell him that it's your opposition that is working against you. All right, so we're in a country where people politicize everything. They politicize every issue. They politicize everything. There are things that should be sacrosanct. There are things that should be core. The core of us as a country that we shouldn't play with. One of them fundamentally is security. And the rights of people. Because the truth is this, you're talking about Zamfara, all right? Do you think that the military will go into Zamfara at this point and the host community will be willing to work with them? So how are they going to mine intelligence from these communities? It's not possible. The same thing in Katsina. So everything comes down to the level of understanding between the people and the government. There's supposed to be a trust, all right? Government is a social contract. But we don't see that. And at the end of the day also, like he rightly said, the military has no business getting involved in all this. And over the last few years, we've abused it from the days of Obasanjo, sending the military to Zakibia and sending the military to Odi to go and wipe people away. That is not how a sensible country functions. And as it stands at this point, we need to go back to the drawing board. And the truth is that I don't think we're ready to do that because the people at the helm of affairs at this point have what I call the old military mindset, all right? They see things from the same old prism, that this is how it functions. But it's not possible. Even if you look at countries like United States and rest of them, they've had issues with war over the last few years, all right? Outside their home country, they've done it in Iraq. There are models that you can learn on how to fix some of these issues. There's a part where the civilian is supposed to work hand in hand with the people. If you don't have that level of trust within these hostile communities, you're not going to make any progress, all right? And for Masari to come out to say that this is what's happening, he doesn't have the trust of his people. And also, most importantly, let me just add this thing. The police, all right, you're sending a police officer. The Nigerian police force, as it should not be centralized. That is another big problem. All right? There's nothing that concerns Usman that grew up in Zamfara. Then you not send him to come to Bejuleki to come and act as intelligence officer. Usman will not give you any credible intelligence. So first of all, we need to sit back as a country and change our.
So you're advocating for state police then?
There is need for state police. There is need for local police because at the end of the day, see, these are local issues. All right? Let's, for example, now they will deploy new police officers. maybe from one particular state and send them to this state that you don't know what's happening. Some of them are coming for the first time to Zamfara. How are they going to stay there? What are they Harry Potter? They can't do magic.
Okay. Now, I've said this over and over in the weeks before now, talking about this banditry and kidnapping. We never really act on these issues until it hits close to home. Now, in the case of Masari, he's speaking up because his in-law is being affected.
Okay.
And I'm just, because you see, the thing is, and I had some reactions. Some people in River State were complaining that, oh, Kolade Johnson was killed in Lagos, and immediately the president spoke about it, and the whole world is speaking about it. But SARS officers are killing more people in River State and harassing many more, and it never makes the news. So again, are we prioritizing the wrong things?
No, you see, Kolade Johnson, that's why we thank God for the media. If not for media, Nigeria would have been in war. Nigeria would have gone to war for a very long time. Just let me tell you the truth. And the media have a wrong role to play, and I want to appreciate you guys for bringing the information at the appropriate time to our doorsteps. Because Kolade Johnson would have been swept under the carpet if not for that reaction by the people of that vicinity. And the police officer that carried out that action is not even the only person that has been doing that in this country. Because I've seen police officers that a little thing you talk to say, I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to kill you. And I told you guys the last time I came here, I said in the military, when you tell somebody I'm going to shoot you, and when you cock your rifle and you didn't shoot that person, you will be dismissed and jailed. And you might even be executed by the court martial. See, the problem we're having in this country is leadership. Are you with me? If the president cried on Kolade Johnson, he cried just because the international community are aware of what went wrong between that guy, and I learned it was an accidental discharge. How is it an accidental discharge?
Is there any such thing as an accidental discharge?
There is no accidental discharge. You see, the rifle, let's take for example the Kalashnikov, that is the handheld Kov.
A pistol?
No, the Kalashin.
Okay.
It's not the pistol. The Kalashnikov, you see, we need to, first of all, start training most of the security agencies on how to handle that Kalashnikov. When you look at it...
Is that not why you go to a police training school?
Yes, some of them just go through and just come out. You see, like when you look at the Kalashnikov, there's what we call the aperture. And there is a settings there whereby you can set your range. There was a time I was coming, I saw a police officer, my eye just went through the aperture, and I saw the range was on 900 meters. You don't put that range, you can only put that range when you are in the war front so that you can get your enemy at 900 meters. Now, when you look at this 900 meters now, if, for example, a police officer wants to have an accidental discharge, the bullet will fly from here to like Uzumba, like to the end of this Rigali, 900 meters. Just take, for example, 900 meters. So when we are within a peaceful environment, you need to bring back that setting to like 100 meters or 150 meters in the sense that you have any accidental discharge, it will not travel faster than what you expected. The Kolade Johnson issue is that the policeman exhibited an intentional discharge. There is nothing like accidental discharge. Accidental discharge is only admissible in the war front. Like, for example, during the Bakassi War, you can keep your gun ready. Because why are you keeping your gun ready? In any eventuality, the enemy might come. Or maybe you are advancing to contact the enemy, or you are advancing and there's what we call advance to contact and advance in contact. Or you in contact in the enemy, you just open fire. That means your gun was already ready. Now, in peaceful environment, you're not supposed to put your gun on the ready because you're in a peaceful time. You're within the peaceful confine of a peaceful entity. So that police officer, I think he has been dismissed. So ahead, and the appropriate punishment should be meted on him. Now, what happened is what we call specific deterrence. He's paying for what he has done. That's what we call specific deterrence. Now, other police officers who had what went wrong, they will have to learn from that. That's what we call general deterrence. So they will use that guy to send a general deterrence.
Will they? Because recently, another video, quickly, we have just 1 minute, another video surfaced where a police officer was harassing someone on a bus going to somewhere in Delta, that he was using an iPhone X, that he's worked in the service for almost 6 years or 16 years. He's not been able to afford that phone, so it means he's a thief. Step out of the vehicle, bring your bag. And that's how that young man was taken out of a vehicle. Maybe he was going back to school or something. So I don't really know if they learn because, yeah, they'll just say, well, it was his bad luck. I mean, Ugo.
Well, I don't think they learn, all right? And I think, like, for me, like I said, when I talked about ramping the police, the security architecture, we need to disengage some police officers. They need to go home, all right? Because at the end of the day, some of them do this thing the way they're like, this is not the first time. We've had police officers kill people repeatedly over the last few years, and they keep on doing it, all right? So it's not encouraging, and there's no excuse for it.
All right. Well, I want to say thank you very much, gentlemen. Unfortunately, we don't have too much time. Dickson Osaje, security expert, and Ugochukwu Ikeko, political analyst. Thank you, gentlemen, for speaking. I'm hoping that we don't have to be here next month, the month after, talking about the same issue. Unfortunately, we still do have to talk about it this whole week. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming.
Thank you.
We'll take a break now. When we return, we'll be looking at parties and their warring factions. Stay with us. Still Plus Politics.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Adam, go and bring us your husband. Okay, hello baby.
We're in this together, okay? Can you hear me? Keep coming forward.
Wait, stop.
You okay, lean to your right. Keep walking down. Keep walking to the left. Yes.
You're almost here.
Keep going.
You are here. Wow, you did it.
I'm just so glad I didn't have to use my cane to do this.
And I am so glad no other man got you before me. Let me be your eyes.
We will never stop working to give you a network you can rely on, so you can enjoy life's special moments. MTN, everywhere you go.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely, by no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, no?
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity. No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
The All Progressive Congress, APC, in Anambra State says it's set to reposition the party to ensure victory in the future elections in the state by wooing their aggrieved members, particularly those who felt they had been sidelined in the scheme of things. It is not just Anambra that has warring factions, by the way, virtually every state in the country. So the question is, how can these parties unite their warring factions? Joining me in the studio, again, we still have Ugochukwu Ikeko. He's a political analyst. Thanks for joining us yet again. And of course, we have Sam Adeleke. He's also a political analyst. It's good to have you join us, Sam.
Good to be here.
All right, so I'll start with you, Sam. The APC's warring factions, we didn't just see it in Anambra. We saw a replica of it in Imo. It cost people tickets in Zamfara and River State. So I'm wondering, this idea, because according to the party, they're saying, look, we're going to have a summit of sorts, and this summit will be a unity summit. You know, we'll try to appease and woo back all the people that have been aggrieved from the party. Does this really solve anything?
I do think that, just like we all know, APC is a gathering of string bedfellows, people who came together just to ride to power. And right now, when the center cannot hold, things will definitely fall apart. I think this is the time when the leader of the party needs to step in and prove his mettle, because if you say you are the leader, you should be able to use your influence to bring people together. Now, politicians are
are good at what they do. It's a game. These guys are full-time politicians. They know that they are worrying because they need something. If it were because of the people, if it were for Nigeria's economic progress, Nigerians will have probably been passionate, and take it P, so to speak, that, this person should be given this. This is not right, this is not right. But what is the way forward? The leader of the party, we know the leaders of the party. The president is the #1 leader, followed by the national leader, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And the sectional leaders, we have those in the north, the east, the south. This is the time when they should pull their weight and show Nigerians and show the other lesser parties that you are not just big for nothing. You're not just a ruling party because you are called the ruling party, but because you have the capacity to lead when there is crisis.
Interesting. Ugo, apparently this 3-day conference will have bearing on the outcome of the finding committee that was set up last week, which has 2 weeks to submit its reports. They also say the Vice President will be at this event to give it some weight. They will also have Adams Oshomole and, of course, the former Senate President, Ken Namani. They're also saying that the party has gone beyond becoming or playing the opposition. They want to take over the state. How do you see this happening, especially for a state like Anambra?
Well, for me, I think I'll pray that the crisis will continue.
Why would you say that?
Yeah, it's always important. It's always important where we need to understand that what is the driving factor? What is driving them? Their selfish interest. All right. It's not a bad thing for politicians to have crises. If you remember in England in the 15th century or so, when the elites were having issues, as with one of the kings, they got to a point where they had the Magna Charta that changed democracy and the rest of them, and that gave them like the defining thing that at the end of the day that made democracy better to you today. So if they're going to have issues on principles, I'm fine with it. It's normal. It's democracy. It should happen, all right? But if they're going into a unity summit to go and get people that will rubber stamp the executive, rubber stamp the judiciary, well, I think if I believe in the power of prayer, I think I will pray that it doesn't collapse. Because see, the truth is this, I don't want a pliant National Assembly. We're not going to make progress with it, all right? What these guys are doing at this point is not about the interest of Nigeria, like you rightly said. So are they going to have crisis? They will continue to have crisis. It's not me wishing them bad luck. Because the truth is this, these guys are strange bedfellows, all right? The core of APC at this moment, the people that control APC is the CPC bloc in APC.
Yeah,
all right?
That's right?
Whatever the AD part is trying to do is cosmetic. It does not work. It will not work. The few people that came in from the PDP that stay with them does not hold, they're not the key players as some of them were in 2015. The key players now in 2019, right, are the CPC bloc. So you should listen to them. What are they saying? The CPC bloc or that constitute APC today does not even care about this. They're not in the news, all right? Did you mention El-Rufai? Did you mention Abba Kyari? These are the people that control the power in APC, and whatever the people in the South are trying to do is just to get themselves in position that they want to get something of importance from the new government.
But this is Anambra State.
I'm from Anambra State.
And I know. And then we're looking at the APC in general, because of course I'm guessing that this summit might somewhat be replicated. If not necessarily a summit, they will also try to be wooing other factions. But with all that has happened leading up to 2019, can the APC in those states that are not necessarily APC states survive this before the next election cycle?
Can I say something quickly? For example, in Abia State, the Minister of Trade and Finance, Mr. Nelema, all right? The APC in that state has written an open letter to the president saying that we don't want this guy to continue, that he has not done anything for the party in the state, does not support the party. At the same time, you see, some of these people are political elements that does not have any weight. These are the only time in their life they have chance to just make noise. And the truth is that you are not part of the key power player, so nobody's going to listen to you. You can make noise, put press release on the newspapers, everybody will see it. But the truth is that it does not constitute anything. The truth is this, seriously. Well, Anambra, as we all know, is a PDP state. Despite the fact that APGA is in government, the election PDP swept it. Same thing within the Southeast. So some of them are the people that have lost out from both PDP and APGA, especially in Anambra State. Same thing in Abia State. Some people have lost out from Okezie Bazu's government. So they are trying as much as possible to make it seem to the presidency that they are trying to help him raise a new bloc within the Southeast. If Buhari finishes tomorrow, these guys will leave him, go to the next person. So
that's my question to you, Mr. Adeleke. I'm just wondering, with all of this infighting and the fact that, you know, there are certain states that are definitely no-go areas for the APC, no matter how hard they work. Do you see those people in those parties outliving this lifespan after this election cycle? I'm talking about before 2023. Will there be a strong APC force, especially in the southeast and south-south states?
I believe that crisis is an opportunity for growth and for cohesion. And it's important that we also look at the fundamentals behind all of this. As long as it is not about galvanizing people together, as long as it is not about ensuring that people are educated, people reach out to support them ideologically, this will simply be a storm in the teacup, in which it is about the highest bidder. These guys trade and talk about and trade their ideas and loyalty on money. So it is who is ready to give them appointments, who is ready to give them control over a ministry, over a parastatal, over oil blocks, because of course we all know that the federal government has just recently collected or nullified some OMLs from some multinationals. So there are going to be a lot of reallocation of oil blocks right now, and people are positioning themselves to get this largesse from the government ahead of 2023. You know, oftentimes I think that Nigeria is unfortunate to have people who are only election jobbers, people who only plan for every election cycle but not the country's development. Because right now we should be talking about systemic development and talking about how institutions should be built, you know, from the grassroots. That is why I really do challenge people like AAC, who are able to make a very strong dent on the politics of rivers. So if right now these people and these lower parties, because I really don't talk about APC too much and PDP, you know, is just the same people recycling and going in circles.
But you see, as much as you don't want to, I did ask a question, that same question to a party, I think it is the Labour movement or something, there was just one of those parties, and I said, you only show up when it's the election season.
Right.
You don't have to wait for the major political parties to play opposition. We never see the opposition. I mean, take for example in the UK, you don't only hear, you know, the Lib Dems fighting Theresa May. You hear of UKIP. You hear of all the other parties. You know, the Labour movement, Jeremy Corbyn. They are playing opposition, and it's not in their interest. It's mostly in the interest of the people.
There's something you said that I think which is a big fallacy, right? The AAC did not make any dent in Rivers State. They worked with the instrumentality of the military and Rotimi Amechi.
We won't be talking about them if they did not play their game well to get that relevant.
The game that led to the death of people. See, if you cannot be saying that AAC is a model political party,
all is fair in politics.
No, all is not fair. No, all is not fair in politics.
There is no morality in this state.
Then you cannot say
the ideal is that people should do the right things.
No, you can't say that.
The ideal is that people should play politics of morality. You know, debate. Let's talk ideologically. But when you are gunning down people, the other person says, see, one party does not have the monopoly of violence. So there is a battlefield, there is a playing ground in which we need to talk in that context. Because Amechi cannot sit down and watch somebody come to override him. Just the way, sorry, I thought Amechi, Wike rather, will not watch Amechi use the federal might to torpedo him and to stampede him in a state, when the same thing also happened when Amechi was the governor in his time. So I want us to look at Rivers State and that politics of AAC and PDP and APC in a very contextual ground. I'm saying that these parties, you cannot play safe and be a good boy and make a mark if you do not align with the realities on ground. That is my point. So the morality is different all entirely.
All you're saying, you said that all is fair in politics and war. So what you're saying is that AAC going into alliance. Now you just said that APC and PDP are the same, and now you're still justifying that it's good that AAC went into alliance with APC. All your words. See, what I'm saying is this: that it does not make sense. For example, we're talking about infighting right now. Before this section, we're talking about security challenges. At this point, seriously, what I expect, I'm not a card-carrying member of any party. What I expect is that by now we should be hiring the chairman, what's it called, Adams Oshimole, the former Labour minister. Now we're hearing rumors about fuel price.
Labour leader, you mean?
Yeah, the former Labour leader is the national chairman of APC. Now we should be hearing news about, okay, what are they going to do about subsidy? What are they going to do about immigration? What are they going to do about security?
He's no longer the Labour leader. He's now a party man. He cannot be speaking from both sides of his mouth.
You just mentioned UKIP. in the UK. You just said that.
Yes.
The party leaders there still put at position. See, the most important thing, see, we can't give any excuse. We can't
The party
them.
leaders there are members of parliament. It's a different ball game. Adams Oshomole is not a member. He's not holding an office.
Adams Oshomole was a former governor. All right, Adams Oshomole is a citizen of this country. Adams Oshomole is first in Nigeria before he's an APC.
But Adams Oshomole's party is in government. Ugo, you're getting it all twisted
I'm not getting it all twisted. I'm saying that most importantly, the thing that should drive a party, be it a small party like ASC, be the big party like the APC, should be about the interests of the people. The infighting should be there. See, I don't have any issue with politicians fighting among themselves. They shouldn't kill each other. They can disagree, they can quarrel about position and every other thing, but let them do it on principles. All right, it should be on principles. It should not just be on what do I get at the end of the day. There should be concession.
So it goes back to what I said. How come these parties, no matter how tiny or how big you are, why are you not playing the proper opposition? Why are you not speaking the minds of the people? Human beings are dying. I think I just heard maybe the PDP once or twice speak about this issue.
Can I respond to that? I'll give an example of Lagos State. You know, in build up to the election, we keep talking about the fact that the main opposition at the time, Jimmy Agbaje, was just an election cycle politician. And in the course of digging deep, and probably this is an open secret, we all know that he probably handles the supply of drugs to many of the state government hospitals in Lagos State. So you have a man like that who is being fed, so to speak, by the government. And he cannot, like someone said, if they just take you that contract, this man would not have funds to even run his personal business, how much more be a viable opposition. So we have a system in which the institutions of government are the ones funding and making people to live on a daily basis. So until we get to a point whereby the people who are leaders right now...
So you're saying you can't bite the finger that fed you?
Do you get?
But I don't think that because maybe allegedly if that is Jimmy Agbaje's, way, it doesn't mean that is veto for the ADP or the LP or whatever party. I mean, they also... Yes. So I'm saying, why are those people not speaking? Does it mean that we don't have value for life except when it's time for elections? We don't. So where do we go from here?
No, we don't. See the only place we can go from here is to keep going backward. That's
no
way.
You're
being a bit
I'm not being pessimistic, for Christ's sake. I'm not being pessimistic. The truth is this. We're having an existential crisis as a country, all right? At this point, what is paramount to anybody? Be the PDP, be it the APC, be the small parties. Nobody is thinking about the lives of Nigerians. It's sad, it's painful, all right? See, we are at a tipping point as a nation. Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world. More people fall into poverty every minute. People are dying in Zamfara, people are dying in Katsina, all right? More youths are out of jobs. All right, the purchasing power of Naira keeps crippling. So it's not a forward projection. You can't make a forward projection. All we're saying is that things doesn't look nice. It looks gloomy at this point, and it's still part of leadership. All right, if Winston Churchill could take the UK out of all the challenges and everything in 1945 during the Second World War, there's nothing we cannot face as a country. Rwanda is a perfect example. Everybody talks about Rwanda today of how they've been able to make progress as a nation. They are the darling of the world.
They're leading right now.
So it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying they should not politics. I'm not saying they shouldn't do that. But in doing that, the most important thing should be the development of Nigeria. Be the small party, be the small party. And for now, for example, the MDP, all right, within the Lekki Aziz, they were able to make some good impact during the election. That's the Banky W party. Nothing stops them, all right? We've had issues consistently about demolition, about collapse building within this axis. And Ethiopia falls within this place. Nothing stops NDP from being a vocal party, like being on the forefront of all these issues.
Right.
Don't wait till the election. That is how you drive conversation, all right? And that is the only way we can make progress. And if we're not doing this thing, be the small party or the big party, because like you said, some of them comes to collect money, and thank God some of them lost. And they'll keep losing if they wait till the election time to contest.
All right, because we do not have time, I'm going to take a last one from you, Sam Adeleke. He's talking about the government. What about us, the people? If they don't place value on our lives, what value do we place on our own lives?
On our lives.
How hard are we pushing? How loud is our scream? And Are we getting them by the jugular to say, look, we need you to hear us or else we're going to make sure that we throw you out? I mean, look at South Sudan. He's been thrown out.
Right.
So what are we doing as a country?
I believe as young people, we must not stop advocating for justice. You know, using our phones, using our voices, using social media to capture incidents where people's rights are being trampled upon. We cannot afford to keep quiet. Now, even if we admit to the fact that we live in a society whereby if you go on the street to protest, you are likely to be dead than to be heard. But in the comfort of your car, of the bus, wherever you are, be open. Keep your eyes open. Keep watching and keep doing what you need to do to ensure that whenever you see any sign of injustice, any sign of trampling of people's human rights, please keep posting. Please speaking in the little way you can, because at the end of the day, it is what, you know, he who lives or he who runs lives to tell the story another day.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been a very healthy and interesting conversation. Ugochukwu Keka and Sam Adeleke, both political analysts, thank you for speaking with us on Plus Politics. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, I'll give you my take, and we'll be wrapping things up right here. Stay with us.
The Senate has resolved to override the veto of Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari on the Constitution Amendment, 4th Alteration Number 28, Bill 1999, and the Industrial Development Income Tax Relief Amendment Bill. The Constitution Amendment Bill seeks to stipulate the time within which the President or the Governor shall lay the appropriation bill before the National or State Assembly. It also seeks to ensure early presentation and passage of appropriation bills. Buhari's reason for declining assent to the bill was that it did not take cognizance of the provisions of Section 58, subsection 4 of the Nigerian Constitution.
Accordingly, since all these bills to which Mr. President declined assent to had gone through all legislative stages, this committee is of the view that the Senate should invoke this provision with a view to giving these bills accelerated consideration in order for them to be represented to Mr. President for his assent.
For those that are to be represented, I think there are only 6 of those. We should list them immediately so that they can start through the process, and we have those done. Those that require constitutional amendment, I think those ones about 6 as well. And I think that we have to find a date where, if it's possible for us to be able to muster the attendance for that. But the ones that are the easiest one, as I said, is the ones that we just need to pass the bill and start the process.
A 5-man panel of the Supreme Court, led by Justice Olabode Rhodes Viva, on Wednesday unanimously struck out the appeal filed by members of the sacked Balogun Fulani-led Executive Committee of the All Progressive Congress Inquirer. The appellant Ishola Balogun Fulani challenged the dissolution of his exco by the national chairman of the party, Adams Ashomole, on July 30, 2018.
But looking very closely and critically at the records, we felt that there was no appeal at all, because what the law requires them to do is to ensure transmission of the records to this court within 14 days. That they didn't do. Rather, they did it outside the period of 14 days allowed by law. In law, it is clear what consequences should visit or follow such an action. So we took the liberty to raise that issue, that instead of bothering their lordship to come and be listening to lengthy argument, it was important that we decide whether or not the appeal has come to this court via the required route.
A free legal advice there. My brief, as far as this matter is concerned, is at an end. The clients reserve their rights to pursue whatever they think legally is available to them under the law.
My take. Take a look around you and see all that's happening in Nigeria. In less than 2 weeks, lives are being lost every day. It's time for us to make our leaders begin to take us seriously. It's time for us to scream and shout at the top of our voices. It's time for them to hear us. So drop your phones, Get off your social media, get off your Twitter and your Instagram. Stop typing and start acting. Hit the streets. Whatever we need to do, get those placards out. Let's begin to start the conversation and get these people to do what we need them to do, what we put them there to do. Because you know what? We need to take a stand, or else we'll watch our country burn, and we cannot have that. So we need to act now. My name is Mary Anacone, and it's been Plus Politics. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.
First point of accountability is asking questions.
Hello and welcome to Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Hi everyone, welcome to Plus Training.
You cannot continue to recycle poverty while you're spending a lot of money on unproductive ventures.
The government has to feel the impact.
Honorable Commissioner, sir, welcome to the show.
Hi guys, this is Toby Bakre. I'm on Plus TV Africa and I'm going to be answering some of your questions. 5 fitness tips for you guys. First of all, drink lots of water. Second of all, don't eat later than 7-8 p.m. Stay active throughout your whole day. Instead of taking the elevator, sometimes take the stairs. Stay active. Enroll in the gym. Be it yoga, be it weights, be it cardio, just, you know, something extra just to keep your body in shape. And the last one, mind your business. Am I dating anyone? At the time, very single. As in, what's another word for single? I'm like single Pringle. What are my future plans? I plan to do more in acting, more in hosting, do a lot of creative projects, work with a lot of brands, and start my own business. Will I ever do music seriously? I'm just always going to play with it for now. I did a collaboration with Spyro, a song called Japa, and it's a tune. So maybe I'm going to go back and play again sometime. And then it depends on the feedback. If I'm getting feedback like, oh, okay, maybe they're playing my songs in the club and stuff like that, maybe I can say, okay, maybe I'll be a performing artist, get someone to write the song, then just go to the studio and do it. You know, maybe. Never say never. Who is my favorite Nollywood actress and why? Okay, I think I'm going to give 2 answers, or 3 answers. First of all, the first lady, Genevieve, and that's because she's so good at what she does and she's very professional. And she's a pioneer. She's kind of taking this whole thing to the next level, so yeah. And then for the newer guys, Eferele and Ini, I combined the 2. I just like them. I like their movies too. That's all. My daily routine and what makes Toby Bakre Toby Bakre. You see, I wake up in the morning. First of all, I pray. When you're thankful for the little things, I mean, just wake up with a heart of gratitude, like thank God for life, for the little things. And then after that, I play some music, you know, get into the day already, like fast bumping music. So I'm getting into the shower, I'm already moving, plan out my day, do some exercise. And you know, so when I step out of the house, man, I'm already, the vibe is up there, so nothing can bring me down for the day. So going like that, and it's almost gonna be a good day. Like you see, right now I just have like great vibes. In my head, I'm still playing the song I woke up to. Yeah, like It's all good. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Signing out.
That's the Brazilian who, with the longer blades that Austria wasn't too impressed with. 200 meters, but we must stress, absolutely legal.
Sounds of the surf. Yeah. Now that you either hate or I don't want no bad energy. Man get views by radar, but you can't see my energy.
And this time they are away, and Peacock goes away strongly.
She wants a man from London, she wants a fellow with felonies. That's probably my team. There's no I in it, I bring it on my team. That's when they saw my team. Even the bouncers bounce when they saw my team. Who do you wanna never know? Don't be a sheep when you can be gold. Great, it's a good time and you never know. Don't show up to my show.
This is
Got no
absolutely marvelous.
energy.
You're watching Plus TV Africa, and this is Tea Time.
I loved the energy when I came in here. It was so positive. I was like, I can't live here.
My real names are Akbofio Fobo, Akborobo Memere.
I think my father is a comedian because most times when he calls me, he's like, yo, make sure you use condom, you know, them girls out there.
So are you telling me I should have shot my shots?
Ife, you are my younger brother.
Age is nothing but a number. What? I'm a vampire.
I believe in equal rights for women, and I also believe that a man is the head of the house, so we need to draw our limits somewhere.
Feels so good. Now can I do my jam now?
Yeah, you can.
Goal 10 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals speaks largely about eliminating inequality amongst countries and peoples. The United Nations clearly recognizes that businesses can also exacerbate inequality by being complicit in perpetrating biases and discrimination. The question, however, is, how exactly does this resonate with Nigeria? Lagos is the most populous city in Nigeria and has millions of persons. Among these are little persons also, often found in Osborn in Ikoyi. They are trying to make a living as they grapple with inequality and discrimination because of their physical appearances. Wisdom Abba and his wife Joanne are one of the little persons who moved from other parts of the country into Lagos to make a living by getting employed despite their physical inadequacies. They say that in Lagos, they had hoped to win the battle against discrimination, but this fight, however, seems to be a lost one as they are constantly marginalized by some employers while hunting for jobs.
Sometimes, somebody will promise me at where I'm selling market. Best we drive car, we say we find work for me. I will pull up other person. At last, the person will not find a job because promise me. Many of them.
When I want to look for a job, they say they can't give me a job, that I'm too short. Then I should go.
This couple is not the only little person seeking an end to discrimination in job hunting. Nkubi and Shapali are celebrity broadcasters. They too say that they have had a painful taste of societal rejection.
I got called up for an interview. One of the management now walked up to me and told me that, look, I am sincerely very sorry. You are not the kind of person we are looking for.
My sister, growing up, she'll be like, Daddy, where do you get this thing from?
Though Shapali comes across as a very confident woman, she says growing up was torturous.
I'm talking to you, I don't know my mom until now. She ran away because I am a dog.
She adds that her self-esteem was dealt a devastating blow for even thinking of marrying a tall man and begetting tall offspring, as her mother-in-law rejected her.
I had a relationship that the guy, you know, took me home to the mom. And I was there in their living room, seated, and the guy went to call the mom. The mom came and I was like, where? Sorry, oh my dear, sorry. Where is the wife? My son said he brought. And I was like, it's me. And like, stop joking now. How will it be you? My son came up to come that he brought somebody, you know. I was not accepted.
Bash and Iyatokpe are 9-to-5 persons. They reveal that they have also been treated with inequality countless times.
My own junior brother, the one that follows me, he also thought I'm kind of like a junior to him. We usually fight every day.
I go one place. I say they find person will go sweep here. They say not true. I say I won't do it. You do it. Which hand do you want to take sweep here?
With only 12 years left to expunge inequality by 2030, only little is known if Nigeria will truly wipe out this menace. But Wisdom and his wife Joanne, Nkubi, Shapali, Bash and Iyatokpe continue to hope that someday they will be treated like every other human being. I am Mary Chinda for Plus TV Africa.
Hello there, and many thanks for joining us on News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. And here are the stories making the headlines. I am Tokumbo Taiwo. President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered the security agencies in the country to ensure that all bandits are immediately dealt with. He gave the directive when he met with service chiefs on Thursday at the presidential villa in Abuja, the nation's capital. Addressing State House correspondents at the end of the closed-door meeting, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Olonishaki, disclosed that the president issued marching orders to the military to ruthlessly address the security challenges in the country.
And this review strategy is to address all the issues, including kidnapping, banditry, and other associated issues confronting the nation. And we are coming up with a revised strategy to handle those challenges.
Kaduna-Abuja road is now safe. We have cleared the road. We've arrested a lot of the kidnappers, and in confrontation with some of them, some were fatally injured. So the road is cleared. Our patrol teams, the combined security services that are patrolling the road are there constantly 24 hours.
In less than 1 week after the launch of Operation Puff Adder, the Inspector General of Police has ordered his men to halt the rising crime wave and wipe out armed bandits across the country. So far, 10 armed bandits have been killed, 46 suspects arrested, and 18 AK-47 rifles and several arms and ammunition recovered.
I expect you to replicate this strategy in your various commands in order to restore order in the public space and enhance public confidence in the police. Let me reassure all citizens of our renewed commitment to implementing effective strategies towards addressing the current security challenges. The threat might appear challenging, but I can assure that they are surmountable, and we shall provide the requisite leadership needed to address them. While we at the highest leadership level, we strive to support and motivate you, we shall henceforth not hold back in sanctioning any officer whose derelictions or weak leadership capacity continually occasion increase in crime.
The FCT Police Command says it has raided criminal hideouts of the gangs terrorizing Abuja metropolis. Deputy Commissioner of Police Salisu Gadi, while parading some of those arrested, says the command recovered arms, ammunition, dangerous weapons, hard drugs and over 20 vehicles stolen by car snatchers.
Intelligence-led policy and proactive measures put in place by the command to combat crimes within the Federal Capital Territory is yielding positive results. These measures have led to the smashing of notorious criminal syndicates, arrest of hardened criminals, recovery of vehicles, dangerous weapons, and other exhibits. The recovery of 4 locally made pistols, 2 toy guns, 11 live ammunitions. All these were recovered from about 10 number of suspected armed robbers. The second recovery, we have 25 number of vehicles of different make recovered from the 9 suspected car thieves, car snatchers that were arrested during the reviewing period. Raids conducted at various black spots within Federal Capital Territory yielded positive results as dangerous weapons such as knives, cutlasses, and other dangerous weapons like were recovered from over 25 suspects.
The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has reacted to reports that its presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, paid $30,000 to a United States lobby group to assist in the quest to reclaim his mandate. A research group based in the U.S. Center for Responsive Politics, CRP, had claimed that Abubakar was lobbying the United States government not to recognize anyone but him as Nigeria's president-elect. CRP, in a report released last week, alleged that Abubakar was making this effort through some Washington, D.C. lawyers engaged in a 90-day contract worth $30,000. However, the PDP described the report as tissues of lies. In a statement by its spokesperson, Kola Ologbodinyo, on Thursday, PDP insisted that agents of the All Progressives Congress APC-led government were behind the allegation. According to Ologbodinyo, the motive is to use lies, fabrications, threats, and sponsoring of Atiku campaign posters to portray Atiku Abubakar and the PDP as being desperate and ready to subvert the rules in the pursuit of his mandate. River State Governor Nyesom Wike has called on the Minister of Transportation, Chibuike Rotimi Amechi, to join hands with him to develop the state. In a state broadcast on the Supreme Court judgment striking out the appeals by River State APC on Thursday, Wike stated that the state stands to benefit more if all leaders were united. He said, and I quote, "Although the present politics of acrimony and bitterness may have strayed from the noble path of the past, I still believe that we shall be better off standing and working together for our state and our people. I therefore appeal to the APC and the Minister of Transportation, Amechi, to join hands with us to move our dear state forward." Governor Wike further pledged to run an inclusive government aimed at promoting the development of the state. As the 2019 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination UTME begins, the Joint Matriculation Board, JAMB, has warned candidates against bringing in prohibited items into the examination halls. The examination, which started on Thursday, is expected to hold for about a week across Nigeria. JAMB spokesperson Fabian Benjamin said the items were prohibited in order to secure the sanctity and integrity of the board's examination. He said examination officials are allowed to scrutinize eyeglasses or similar devices, and when convinced that such items may compromise the sanctity of the examination official should confiscate them. The list of items prohibited include wristwatches, pen biros, mobile phones or similar electronic devices, spy reading glasses which should be scrutinized, calculators or similar electronic devices, USB, CDs, hard disks, or similar storage devices, books or any reading or writing material, cameras, recorders, microphones, earpieces, ink or pen readers, smart lenses, smart rings, jewelry, smart buttons, Bluetooth devices, automated teller machine cards, erasers as well. Joining us in the studio now is Folawe Omikunle, CEO, Teach for Nigeria. Now, you heard the list right there, you know. What's your initial reaction? Do you think over the top OTT, like they say, or what's your initial reaction, basically?
So first thing that I think of as I saw the list and heard about this list was a good thing that JAMB got proactive enough to share this information before the exams, just so that people are aware of what to come with. Because I can imagine if people had come with several, you have hundreds of candidates writing an exam, and they had come with different ones, you know, different pieces on the list that has been shared. So kudos to them. The second one was, I would really like to hear some of the stories and experiences that has sort of informed the decision to prohibit several of these pieces. There are definitely some of these pieces and some of this, the materials on the list that should have no business in an exam hall. But there's some of them that I just wonder how. And I think what it takes me to is just how further shows the decay in our society and the values and the moral, because we're here trying to prevent malpractice and we're trying to restore the sanctity of an exam. But I don't, you know, I see this as just erosion of values that have, you know, left the society, and we're having to get creative and innovative to manage malpractice and how people engage with it.
Okay, so one of the things that the spokesperson said was that, you know, some of the items were basically banned because of the integrity of the exam. Do you agree?
So I mean, I think that if people already have a mindset to go into an examination hall to cheat, they will find several creative ways to go around it. I do not think that prohibiting this, some of those items, is the best way to approach this, because people get creative still. They will get, you know, they would find a way around the system. I think that better ways to be doing this is, how do we bring back and restore values into our society and into our education system?
Okay, but what would you say then, you know, is a way to introduce more security that would be much more reasonable and would go in line with what you've just said?
I think it all boils down to how we're educating our students. Like, how do you help students to understand that, yes, you studying for an exam and you putting all the hard work and effort is a reflection, is to help you show, like, the reflection of what you studied. It's supposed to show and assess where you are and how, you know, how you can be better supported. I think it's until we start to think about how we're assessing, it's how we think about how we're also, even in the schools, like, how do you make tests look? How do you encourage the students that it's okay to fail? And you know, nobody's going to hold it against you. It's all part of life learning and, you know, life skills. And I think it all boils down to even, like, from the basic education. It's how are we, you know, telling them about, like, testing and assessment, how are we doing assessment, how much importance are we placing on other talents, and it's really all about how we're educating.
Okay.
Straight from basic.
All right, thank you very much. Let's quickly look at the list again. Yeah. You know, do you think that the items on the list actually constitute some kind of threat? And what kind of impact do you think it will have on, you know, on the students, and the society at large?
So the one that sort of like came to me, that struck me, was the eyeglasses. But, you know, they've said like spy eyeglasses, but they have to inspect the glasses to determine whether you're wearing prescriptive glasses or not. But it's to say, I mean, there's several people who would need their eyewear to be able to see the computer and write the test. And so for me, it's how do you ensure that you're not, you know, sort of like having people at a disadvantage where they're not able to write a test because they need to have something with them, or people with conditions, you know, where they would need some of those items that are on the list. And I would want to know, or I would want to believe that the invigilators and the center managers have been equipped and trained appropriately on how to manage and deal with this sort of situation and assess people who have needs and who need to have some of the items with them during the exams.
Okay. Now, earlier on, you touched on, you know, the standard of education here in Nigeria, but I'd like you to, you know, delve a little bit deeper. What's your assessment at the moment of the standard of education here in the country?
We have an education crisis at hand, and we have a learning crisis at hand. And I do not think that we are I still feel like we're dancing round in circles. We haven't even accepted first. We talk about it, but we haven't accepted as a nation that we have a crisis at hand. With what we're dealing with, education should be declared state of emergency in this country. We need to be prioritizing having the conversations at every table on how we want to move forward with our nation. We're not there yet. I mean, one of the striking statistics that people are constantly sharing is that we have 13.2 million children who are out of school. About 60% of kids who are in primary 6, who are leaving primary 6, are unable to read and write, whether in English or in their native language. So you're dealing with an issue of access, but then even the kids who are in school and aren't learning at all. And I mean, you see the back end of all of this. You see it on WAEC, you see the WAEC results, you see the JAM results, and it's almost like we're raising human capital who are not able to contribute to the development of our country. And everybody's moving from the product-based economy to a knowledge-based economy. And I still think we're just sitting down, still don't have a plan. We don't have a national agenda for what, education for what, for what purpose. And I think leadership is what we need to get this right. It's not just leadership at the Ministry of Education level.
I'm glad you mentioned, leadership, and, so what would you say they should do in order to improve the standard of education that we have currently?
We need to engage with the right leaders collectively across all levels and across all sectors. So the reason why I always say this is I was recently in a conversation with the former Minister for Education in Zimbabwe, and his name is Zingai Mutumbuka. And they asked him, why were you termed the most successful Minister for Education in Africa? And he said, it wasn't just me, it was a collective effort. And this came at a point where Zimbabwe had just come out of a civil war. And when this happened, he said, the Minister for Budget and Planning, he said the President, he said the Minister for Defense, said all of these individuals knew why it was important to prioritize education. So a substantial amount of money was allocated to education. The defense knew why it was important for the schools to be secure. The parents knew why it was important for them to send their kids to school. The teachers knew why it was important for them to give their all and ensure quality teaching and learning was taking place in the classroom. And he said that was why the education was successful, and that's why it was transformative during his term. And there is no way in Nigeria we currently have between 6 to 7% of our national budget allocated to education. We have a teacher crisis in this country where majority of the teachers who are in the system are not qualified, and we have a pool of teachers who are not trained, who are not motivated, who are poorly remunerated, and we're attracting the bottom of the pyramid into our teaching profession. So when you look across board, we need leadership across different sectors who understand why it's important to have the right funding, right management, and also ensure that the curriculum, we have an outdated curriculum. So it's beyond just the president, it's beyond just the minister for education, but we need the president to understand and prioritize education. And when that happens, everything will start to shift. He will start to appoint the right people in different places. And when there is a vision, it's easier to get people to align to that vision.
Okay, very well said indeed. Thank you very much. But before we wrap up, what are your final thoughts on this whole story?
What it's shown to me, to be honest, is just more and more, I think in Nigeria, the quick fixes, the band-aid solutions are the things that we're still running after. And so again, with the JAM situation, for example, there is the list of prohibited items, but there's also the challenges that has been experienced in even deploying and delivering the examination. And all of this is just around how we're just about the quick fixes. We're not trying to invest in long-term solutions. We're not trying to really understand the root causes of the challenges. And if we do not deal with this complex issue from the root, we're going to keep running around in circles. So I think it's important for us to take a step back, sit down and begin to ask ourselves and engage ourselves. Why are we educating the children of Nigeria? For what purpose? And draw a vision for education. Then begin to plan from there.
All right, thank you very much, Folawe, for that wonderful opinion that you just rendered out there. So you've been listening to Folawe Omikunle, CEO Teach of Nigeria. We'll take a quick break and then we'll continue with the news shortly after. We'll be right back. Sudanese pro-democracy protesters who spent 4 months on the streets rallying against the country's autocratic president are now defying the military leaders who overthrew him on Thursday. Thousands kept up their sitting outside the military headquarters in Khartoum overnight and into Friday morning, despite a curfew imposed by the army after it arrested Omar al-Bashir, which it had warned protesters not to defy. Organisers of the demonstration said they will keep up the campaign, while it was not clear if the army would move against the protesters. The mood in the crowd appeared festive, with protesters playing music and chanting down a reference to the Defense Minister Ahmed Awad Ibn Auf. Auf, who is on a U.S. sanctions list in relation to the genocide in Darfur, was sworn in as the head of a new military transitional council, which said it will take charge for the next 2 years. British Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt says 2 years of potential military rule in Sudan is not the answer for real change in the country. Hunt tweeted on Thursday that Sudan needs a swift move to an inclusive, representative civilian leadership and an end to violence. Sudan's military ousted President Omar al-Bashir hours earlier in response to nearly 4 months of escalating popular protests in which dozens have been killed. The Sudanese defense minister has announced that a military council would rule for 2 years. The military has also suspended the constitution and imposed an emergency clampdown that risks inflaming protesters who have demanded civilian democratic change. The World Health Organization, WHO, said on Friday that it feared outbreaks of infectious diseases due to dirty water and people fleeing fighting near Tripoli, where it was about 2 weeks of emergency supplies for hospitals and health facilities. After a week of fighting, 75 people have been killed and 323 wounded, including 7 civilians killed and 10 wounded. Dr. Saeed Jafar Hussein, a WHO representative in Libya, told a Geneva News briefing by telephone from Tripoli. The WHO representative has delivered trauma kits and medicines to hospitals, he said, adding that these supplies will last for 2 weeks, the acute phase. So far, 6,000 have fled the fighting, but WHO has contingency plans in case thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, are displaced in the acute phase of fighting. The news continues after the short break. The UK government has told civil servants to wind down no-deal Brexit planning after spending around £4 billion on preparing the country for crashing out of the European Union. The Brexit Department's permanent secretary has told staff that in common with the rest of the government, we have stood down our no-deal operational planning with immediate effect in a letter obtained by Sky News. The letter adds that imminent no-deal planning will be closed down in a careful, considered and orderly way across government departments after European leaders agreed to delay Brexit by 6 months until the 31st of October. Prime Minister Theresa May spent months claiming no deal is better than a bad deal and that the United Kingdom would be ready to leave the European Union without a withdrawal agreement if necessary. North Korea named a new nominal head of state, the state media said on Friday, the 12th of April, replacing the 2 senior leaders charged with representing Pyongyang in many international engagements and planning a major role in developing the civilian economy. Cho Ryong-hae was named president of the Presidium of the Supreme People's Assembly of North Korea at a session of its rubber-stamp legislature that took place on Thursday, the 11th of April. Korean Central News Agency, KCNA, said, replacing Kim Yong-nam. The person holding that position is technically considered North Korea's head of state and usually represents the country at diplomatic events, though experts say real power remains concentrated in leader Kim Jong-un's hands. Kim Jong-un also has been elected as chairman of the State of Affairs Commission. Again, KCNA added. U.S. prosecutors announced charges on Thursday, April the 11th, against WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, accusing him of conspiring with former Army intelligence analyst Chelsea Manning to gain access to a government computer as part of one of the largest compromises of classified information in U.S. history. Assange, arrested by British police in London and carried out of Ecuador's embassy, faces up to 5 years in prison on the American charge. The U.S. Justice Department said in a statement. His arrest paved the way for his possible extradition to the United States. Assange's indictment arose from a long-running criminal investigation dating back to former President Barack Obama's administration. Up next is our business news. The Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, has warned manufacturers, importers and business owners to shun flooding Nigeria's market with substandard goods which can affect consumers. SON, at a sensitization and awareness workshop in Abuja, warned that there are available laws to prosecute offenders, especially those whose actions have direct consequences on the lives of unsuspecting public. It also urged manufacturers and importers not to take the federal government's commitment to improving the nation's ease of doing business for granted.
This is one of those regional sensitization and awareness programs. It is meant to deepen the standardization program, quality assurance, let people know that under standardization and quality assurance and even our metrology and other activities, there are grounds to place sanctions on those who are not conforming to the quality requirements of products, whether manufactured in Nigeria or imported into this country. This is part of those lined-up programs that are making the stakeholders, the manufacturers, the consumers, the medium, micro, small, and enterprises to know that their products are not just liable to standard requirements, but also there are laws to prosecute them if it has caused damage to life or property.
We need government to do more in the area of creating the enabling environment for manufacturers to operate. The more manufacturers you have, the better for everyone. We know that the government is putting every effort in place to ensure that the index for doing business in Nigeria, or the index for ease of doing business, is quite appreciable. You can now see smaller businesses coming in. People can register their business names with as little as 5,000 naira. You have some workshops or some gatherings where you have virtually all the agencies that regulate registrations and certifications come together. So when you go there, you can register your business, you can get your certifications all in one spot. So yes, I must admit that the effort of government at creating a better enabling environment for doing business in Nigeria is.
And still ahead on Plus TV Africa News is our roundup on entertainment and sports news. We'll be back in a moment. And in entertainment, popular American talk show host Wendy Williams has filed for divorce from her husband of over 20 years, Kevin Hunter. The petition was filed on Thursday, the 11th of April, in New Jersey. A spokesperson for the Wendy Williams show told reporters in a statement, "We respect their privacy regarding personal matters. As always, we remain committed to bringing an entertaining and topical show to our viewers." Williams and Hunter married in 1997, and together they have a 19-year-old son. Hunter serves as Williams' manager and is also a producer on her show. In the past, she had addressed speculation that her marriage was in trouble by telling viewers she was still very much in love with her husband and that marriages have ebbs and flows, and said for them not to ask about hers until it was gone, and categorically stated that her marriage wasn't going anywhere, at least not in this lifetime. Up next is sports. And in sports, Chelsea prevented 3 people from entering the stadium for Thursday's Europa League quarter-final at Slavia Prague after a video appeared to show them singing an abusive song about Liverpool forward Mohamed Salah, as they were apparently chanting "Salah is a bomber" repeatedly. 3 of the 6 people in the video were identified and barred, and Chelsea are working to identify the other 3 who did not turn up. The individuals will face bans from the club if they are found to be season ticket holders or members. The video was circulated on social media on Thursday prior to Chelsea's match at the Sinobo Stadium in Prague, in which they won following a late header by Marcos Alonso. Still on sports, Arsenal defeated Napoli by 2-0 in the Europa League quarter-final tie to keep hope alive of winning a European silverware this season. But the coach of the side, Unai Emery, said it is still 50-50 despite the first leg win at the Emirates Stadium. The goals came in the first half of the encounter courtesy Aaron Ramsey's cool finish and an own goal by Kalidou Koulibaly, who deflected Lucas Torreira's short pass to goalkeeper Alex Meret. Napoli, who are second in Serie A, host the Gunners in the second leg next Thursday at the San Paolo Stadium. Napoli boss Carlo Ancelotti said he's still confident of progressing to the last 4. And that's it on sports, and also that's it on our news roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube page at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Do join us again. I'm Tokumbo Taiwo. Have a great day. Hi guys, welcome to Tea Time, where we dish out the really big entertainment stories. I'm Tokumbo Taiwo.